Tonight on the WSVN 7 movie at 8, John Wayne, Richard Burton, and Peter Lawford star in the dramatic conclusion of The Longest Day.
The new Pizza Hut Pepperoni Lovers Pizza asks,
why is everybody always picking on me?
just one bite and you'll know this new pizza is pepperoni paradise. 2 prolific pilings of pepperoni packed between 2 extra plentiful portions of cheese. Now get 1 for only $8.99, or better yet, 2 for just $4 more. New Pepperoni Lovers Pizza.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
You know why.
Making it great.
When you want to keep fruit and vegetables as fresh and crisp as the day you bought them, you wrap them. At Publix, we do the same thing. We fresh pick our produce to make sure it's the best. Then, to keep it perfect until you pick it up, we gently wrap it for protection. Publix produce, fresh picked, but not picked over. At Publix, no one touches your produce but you.
Tonight on Channel 7 News at 10, sleazy game in Fort Lauderdale. The City Commission decides whether to strip the strip joints of their liquor licenses, but club owners are threatening to fight back with sleazy entertainment.
I am strictly engaging in economic survival.
As far as the threats are concerned, they'll have to deal with our police force.
What will happen? Find out tonight. And is your money safe? SunTrust Bank sells off branches. Will you be affected? We'll tell you later on Channel 7 News at 10.
When I took the Mazda Challenge and compared Mazda trucks to the competition, I found them better equipped and priced less than Toyota. The Mazda no-deductible warranty is the best in the truck business. And right now, you can get $750 cash back from Mazda on all their trucks. But to get your $750, you better hurry before the Mazda Challenge rolls away for good.
See your local Dave Broward Mazda dealer today.
I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I never knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
For over 50 years, Borden Ice Cream has been part of your wonderful world.
What a wonderful world.
Don't have no taste for no artificial sweetener. I want something real, naturally sweet. I use sugar, Dixie Crystal Sugar, pure natural energy, only 16 calories. Put some sweet in everything you do with Dixie Crystal Sugar. With only 16 calories, Dixie Crystal looks sweet on you. Dixie Crystal.
John Wayne, Robert Wagner, and Sean Connery will return in The Longest Day.
Sometimes the roads are long, so it's good to know you've got some friends along the way. Pull into any Exxon retailer and you'll find gasolines unsurpassed at cleaning your engine and service unsurpassed at keeping you going. And that'll never change, because quality products and services are why people have been coming into Exxon and why they keep coming back.
Thanks.
Get early week specials Sunday through Wednesday at Winn-Dixie. Start your week off with savings on a tasty summer meal. WD Fresh Whole Fryers are 78 cents a pound. Then cool off with refreshing Coke. Right now, a 12-pack of your favorite is only $2.78. Pay just 93 cents a pound for Harvest Fresh White Seedless Grapes. And get double coupons in all Winn-Dixies except Marketplace stores. Limit supply. Winn-Dixie, America's supermarket.
If you like having your life well-defined.
It's the right beer now.
If you think that beer made in the Rockies sounds better than beer made in cities.
It's the right beer now.
Because when the game's this close, you don't want to drop the ball. So send in the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
Coors like. Yeah, it's the right bit now.
Fleas cause tapeworms in pets. Watch for signs of a tapeworm problem. Only your veterinarian has the tapeworm solution.
I planned it all. They'd never know. Then I looked at the judge. I knew it was over. The man saw right through me.
Crime persists, but justice prevails. Superior Court.
Weekdays at 3:30 on WSVN 7. And now we return to The Longest Day.
Combat was disappointing to me after seeing what the Raid Fumigator did.
Fact. Raid Fumigator kills roaches that survive combat discs.
The fumigator sought the roaches out. And the combat, the roaches have to come dead.
Fact. Raid Fumigator penetrates where you can't put combat.
With the fumigator, it goes everywhere.
Fact. In just hours, Raid kills more roaches in more places than combat. The facts prove Raid Fumigator outkills combat.
I will be a fumigator user from now on.
From intimate weddings with 50 guests to a sit-down dinner for 1,400, the Waterford Banquet Center at Crystal Lake Country Club is always a command performance.
Announcing Pontiac's Excitement Countdown. Get your share of $200 million in factory cash back available on all new Pontiacs now in dealer stock. Like up to $1,850 cash back on Grand Prix and Grand Am for qualified first-time buyers. Or get 2.9% GMAC financing on any hot new Pontiac. Count on it. And for a limited time, additional dealer incentives could mean your total factory cash could be up to $2,850 during Pontiac's Excitement Countdown.
In the heat of passion, anything can happen, even murder.
Why should my life be turned upside down just because I happened to look out of the window?
He wanted to help her because he couldn't resist her.
If she saw it, she wouldn't go forward, so you took her place.
I thought I could bring it up. But the way some people love is a crime.
Why did it find out your lies?
Steve Guttenberg and Elizabeth McGovern in the suspense thriller, The Bedroom Window.
The Bedroom Window. Wednesday on the WSVN 7 movie at 8. The Longest Day, starring Henry Fonda, Eddie Albert, and Robert Mitchum, will continue in a moment.
Hey, party monsters! Why, you know they're in about 30 seconds. Got some party time tips for you from Extra Gold Draft. First, never party with anything less than the full tilt taste of Extra Gold. This is big time beer. Tip number 2, you're at the bar. You're a little short of cash. Be resourceful. Welcome, folks. We got a $3 cover charge tonight.
Go for the full tilt taste of Extra Gold.
It's party time.
When your body says, Mentholatum says, yes, you can. Mentholatum Deep Heating works like a penetrating massage to help you get going. Mentholatum Deep Heating says, yes, you can.
Mommy, it hurts.
Mediquick is the quickest way I know to treat minor cuts, scrapes, and scratches. Mediquick protects against infection and helps heal the hurt. And for extra protection, Mediquick Antibiotic Ointment.
At Steak and Ale, we live by a promise. The great steak, no mistake promise. That means your steak will be this tender, this juicy. Your steak will taste this delicious. Or you'll do whatever it takes to make sure it does. This is the great steak, no mistake promise. That's what makes Steak and Ale a legend in steak.
It was a simpler time. A time of hope and faith in the future. Blue jeans and white t-shirts were in. And Mazda introduced the Miata. A ragtop, a two-seater, a true roadster.
Everyone seemed to be feeling pretty good. The new Mazda Miata. It not only gives you a glimpse.
Welcome, everyone. Oh, my goodness. Happy Monday. I hope everybody's having a good day so far. I hope everybody's got a great start to their week happening. Yes. So, couple of things. We're just going to hang out for a little bit. And not going over anything real pressing. This is just another hangout stream, y'all. Yes. Hashtag Meth Gators. Billy Buzz Smith knows exactly what's up. So yeah, we're just gonna do a little hangout stream. So for those of you who have been who have been subscribed to the channel for a while and have followed my content for a while, you guys know that I talk about a certain creator from time to time, goes by the name of Ryan Upchurch, or as I like to call him, Cuckchurch, who has graced us with the dance, you know, the lovely moves every time someone sends a super chat. So reason why I used to talk about him a lot was because he decided to insert himself in the true crime genre. Now, if you don't know who Ryan Upchurch is, he's a I guess a country rapper. Short for that would be crapper. And he sings country music, and he and he raps. Okay. I don't listen to his music. I'm not knocking his music because I don't know it. I don't know it. But he is a he got on my radar because he decided to start talking about cases that became very high profile. So he got wind of some of these cases, in particularly starting with the Summer Wells case. And he didn't spend a lot of time on that. And he then moved on to discussing the Kylie Rodney case. Now, the Kylie Rodney case turned out to simply be an accident. And it's just a reality that a lot of people, for some reason, were having a hard time accepting. And I can actually, I actually know exactly why they had a hard time accepting, because people on a mass level tend to be assholes when it comes to true crime, because they are more caught up in the entertainment of the entertainment of the mystery, right? They're more caught up in the entertainment of the dramatics that are involved in these true crime cases, or that are not involved. So when they're not involved, sometimes there are no real dramatics in these cases, and they'll create these things, and they'll start spreading rumors. They'll start making up lies and spreading out rumors and spreading false information, and just making it very difficult for two main reasons. A, it makes it difficult for for law enforcement, when it's an open investigation, to conduct a thorough and precise investigation, because people call in with insane tips and they have to follow up on every tip. And law enforcement, no matter where you are, they only have so many resources. The resources are always very limited. It doesn't matter what part of the country you're in. And even if it's FBI, the FBI is limited in resources. It just depends on the branch of the FBI where these things take place. There's not all the cases are worked from Quantico. Like if there's a case in Miami, then what'll happen is, and if it becomes a federal case, then the feds in Miami will work that case. So this issue becomes a bigger issue when the person who decides to spread false rumors and create a false narrative and get a mass amount of people in a rage is, well, somebody who has a mass amount of followers. And Ryan Upchurch has over 3 million followers. And so, and that's just on YouTube. What he did was extremely irresponsible. Not only did he spread lies about these victims and their families, but he also spread lies about, he contributed to spreading lies. He absolutely created these things where, in my opinion, they are him spreading lies, and simply because they're not true, and they are these lies originated from him on his content. And I would review this a lot. And he accused certain YouTubers, content creators in the true crime community, people who weren't even in the true crime community, accused them of being involved in Kiely Rodni's disappearance, accused them of not only that, but accused them of one of them, both of them, of being involved in a sex trafficking ring, I believe. Absolutely crazy and ridiculous. Absolutely crazy and ridiculous. Now, one of these victims, Kiely Rodni's family, is now in a lawsuit against Ryan Upchurch for what he's done. And one other creator who goes by the name of Ikadmel, who I like a lot of people on this channel like a lot, he's taking civil action against Ryan Upchurch as well. And in my opinion, rightfully so. Now, normally I only review Cuckchurch when it pertains to true crime cases. But this latest video that he put up, this latest video that he put up is just something else. To me, it's just it has nothing to do with the true crime community. It honestly doesn't. But it's just kind of a I want to review it simply because it's kind of a testament as to the type of person who was such a problem in the true crime community for the time that he was. So we're going to go ahead and go over this. So those of you who don't know who Cuckchurch is, let me introduce you.
All right, I've already started.
Now, I might get dinged for this. Like, he set some sort of privacy setting to this thing or something. So I might like get kicked out of here for a minute or whatever, and then I'll just come back and then we won't be able to review it. And I'm sorry for that. But if that's the case, then we'll just review other stuff. But I apologize in advance if that happens because he's a big douche.
Started the intro to this video like 6 different times because I'm trying to, ease into what I want to talk about, but there's really no just easing into it. I'm just going to flat out say it. What is up with all the male country singers on these platforms that are putting out the country music information, why are all y'all getting on there crying and bitching like sissies? Straight up. I'm not trying to be a dick to you. I'm not trying to say that I'm better than you because
I love how he says this. I'm not trying to be a dick to you, and I'm not trying to say that I'm better than you, but
I'm not better than nobody. You know,
okay.
all y'all got good songs and everything, and this,
Uh-huh.
that, and the other. I don't know half of y'all. Half of y'all I do know. Well, even if I don't like you, I still have this question: what is up with all the crybaby sissy shit? I mean,
that's a really good question. That's a really good question because this very person that's saying this is has spent the last, I don't know, I want to say at least 6 months whining and crying about his mom and dad. Just whining and crying constantly about his mom and dad, how they did him wrong and blah 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 blah.
I mean, look, I'm a country singer, but I don't ever really look at all the shit that's going on. I try to get more engaged, and I try to be like, okay, maybe I'm being an asshole. But it's not. It's being realistic. It's being realistic. I mean, dude, y'all are the country singers, right?
Now, I've seen him being silly. This is not him being silly at all. This is very interesting to me because he's not being silly at all. He's genuinely annoyed here, which is really funny to me because like the real him is showing. And when somebody is this upset and then you take the context of what they're upset about and put it with how upset they are, it really gives you a glimpse into their soul, man. It just it's just really, really entertaining to me.
Cool, whatever. You got to be tough. You can't be on the internet being like, man, my anxiety, my depression, I'm so scared. I don't know what I'm going to do, man. I'm scared of everything. Everything is horrible. I just want to hide in the closet. Quit doing that. You want anybody kin to you in the future to look back and be like, yep, he was crying like a little girl on the internet.
I mean, that right there just gives you some insight into this guy's capability of empathy as well as self-awareness. Because I've heard him cry and whine about his anxiety. I've heard him cry and whine about his problems. So I mean, that's pretty much what he uses his YouTube channel for, is to cry and whine about his feelings and how they're hurt. So this is really, really funny to me. Like he's whining, like he's literally whining right now. He's not just talking about something. Like I get it. You know, he's not just addressing an issue. This guy is up here literally fucking whining about people whining. All right.
Internet about problems that ain't even real problems. I mean, hell, sometimes they fucking make up the problems and make up the drama. You know why? They have to, because they're not doing anything in their fucking real life to encounter people, problems, or anything for that matter. I mean, damn, man, y'all already charge an arm and a fucking leg to people who bust their ass to come to your show.
Now, this is this is not a parody. Like, he really looks like that, by the way, guys. And it's very much projection, Bubba. Very, very much projection, because his sales are they seem to be quite affected after what he's been doing on the internet. Like, he really, really shot himself in the foot with the Kylie Rodney stuff. He has his like ride or dies, you know, those fans. He does have some of those, but a good majority of these people have just kind of seen all of his insane behavior that he's been putting on the internet. I mean, what he's doing right here is the YouTuber equivalent of Britney Spears. He's just constantly having YouTube meltdowns. And his fans are seeing it. His rational fans are perfectly capable of seeing this behavior and going, Dude, I don't know, man. This isn't the dude that I imagine when I hear my favorite country song singing it and those lyrics. You know, I'm not seeing the same guy. You know, I'm not getting the same vibe from the person I'm listening to talk versus the album I bought from this very same person.
Then they get to your show, and I'm seeing these artists stop and be like, man, don't worry, y'all. I'm okay. Me? I'm okay. Was you asking? Me? I'm okay. Shut the fuck up. All this sissy shit y'all are doing, there's holes poked all in it. There's holes poked all in it. It just irritates me when I see this artist on stage, coming on stage, wiping his little eyes because he's been fucking sleeping and eating fucking ho-ho cakes on the tour bus. And then he gets up on stage acting like he's got to do a fucking hard job or something. You got to sing for a fucking hour and 30 minutes.
I mean, this sounds like pure bitter jealousy. You know? Like, you got to think. This is a guy who is notorious, by the way. What he's really known for, if you don't know who he is, and nobody who knows who he is can disagree with me, what he's really known for is creating beefs with other artists. He's just never ventured into the country music, the big time country music stars. So he's thinking what he's doing right now is a crapper version of what Critical K used to do, which Critical K would try to create a beef with one of the bigger YouTubers who never engage with anyone. So what she'll do is she'll pick them and talk about them, hoping to elicit a response from them and go the opposite of whatever they're saying to look like the villain. To where that it would the method to elicit a response from these people is to say the most outlandishly, ridiculously stupid shit with a bunch of word salad that makes her sound intelligent. This is what she used to do constantly. She tried to do this with Ray Andriacchio. She tried to do this with Annie Elise from 10 to Life. She tried to do this with many different creators who she was very jealous of. So what I'm seeing is the same exact vibe. I'm seeing him be very jealous of very established country music artists who are relating to a certain demographic, and he thinks that he can do something about that. And he's delusional if he thinks he can. And you can see in his face, he's very serious. This is not the usual slapstick looking Cuckchurch vibe we get from his other videos where he's just making fun of someone and dragging them. This is someone who's genuinely upset that artists who are probably even capitalizing off of mental health awareness. Let's just be honest. Maybe they are. Who knows? But mental health awareness being such a big deal, and these country artists are modern, and maybe they're trying to attract a certain demographic, a young demographic that no matter what their parents are voting for, the younger demographic is always going to be leaning towards what the buzz is about in school or on television or whatever social media they're engaged in. They're seeing buzzwords like mental health awareness. They're seeing buzzwords like depression. They're seeing buzzwords like anxiety. They're seeing buzzwords like trigger and trigger anxiety and trigger depression. They are seeing all of these things. And so these artists who part of their art is making good music, another part of their art is recording it well, another part of their art is selling it well. And the part that sells it, okay, has to think of a demographic. They have to target a demographic. They have to target many demographics. They have to figure out the best sales plan to target all these different demographics. And that's what they are doing. Make no mistake about that Luke Combs or whoever, if they're sitting there and they're talking about mental health awareness, they are targeting a young demographic. because that is the way the world is today. Whether he likes it or not, that's how the world is today. Like, you could either sell out or you could buy in. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it works.
30 minutes. These people who came to your show and wasted gas to get there and saved up money and probably spent all the money they had in their wallet at your show.
Those people, Ryan, are getting exactly what they paid for. Because if they are this generation that you probably agree with me is a generation of feeling sorry for me. Feel sorry for me. It is a generation of feel sorry for me. It is a generation of, hey, look at me. Hey, I want more attention and I deserve more attention because my problems are more important than yours. That is the generation that we live in, whether we like it or not. And so corporations are going to cater to this demographic. And they're going to make money off of them. So make no mistake, Ryan Upchurch, that those people that are paying their hard-earned money for the gas to get there, for the tickets, for the concessions that are there, all of that money that they're paying for, those people are getting their money's worth. That's what they decided to pay for. That's what they knew going into it they were paying for. And all that artist is doing is giving them exactly what they want. Very, very simple. They're just giving them what they want. Supply, demand. It's how it works. They demand a product, they supply it. Luke Combs and these other so-called pussies, as you call them, they supply the product that this demographic is demanding.
They deal with way more shit.
And he knows this. This is a guy who's not stupid when it comes to making money. He has over 3 million subscribers on YouTube. He is absolutely self-made. He belongs to no record label. He is completely independent. Owes nobody nothing. Which is the smartest thing that you could do as a musician. He knows this.
Shit than you do. You fucking know it too, artist. And y'all music watchers, if y'all don't know, man, I don't give a fuck. You shouldn't be hearing none of these motherfuckers be on the internet just sitting here being like, man, help me, y'all. Help me, y'all. Y'all already help us enough. A lot of these motherfuckers, I know how it goes. They got somebody to go get their coffee. They got somebody to go get their boots. They got somebody to go get them a fucking pen, a fucking piece of paper. Somebody to stand there and fucking listen to them while they bitch about shit that is dumber than fuck. And the person that is standing beside them, they're paid to go, oh man, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. You're right. And y'all wonder why y'all got fucking problems. You got fucking problems because you're the fucking problem.
Dude, like, again, we're talking about someone who uses his problems to sell his product, which is exactly what he's accusing these people of doing. If you put out YouTube video content, right? Anytime that you put out YouTube content, if you have a product to sell and you are known for that product, which in his case is music, okay? His job is to sell that music, especially if he's self-made, especially if he's completely independent. So what his job is to, every time that he goes live on YouTube or goes live on Instagram or posts a video on YouTube or posts a video on Instagram, he is selling his product. He is promoting it every single time. And that includes every single video about his mom being a bad mom, every video about his dad being a bad dad, every video about him having to sue his mom for stealing from him. All of these videos, every video about his friends using him, even though he gives them everything. all of these videos are meant to get people to feel sorry for him and then relate to him when he puts out a fucking ballad where he's crying like a bitch. Every single one of those videos is designed to do that. So make no mistake, he absolutely understands this better than anyone. So what he's doing, exactly what he's doing right now, is trying to pick some sort of rift with these artists, trying to get a response. Because if one of those artists, with all of the publicity that they get, as soon as they make a public statement saying Ryan Upchurch can go fuck himself, fuck that nobody, just his name being mentioned make people go, oh, who's Ryan Upchurch? And then some of them are going to like his music, others are going to hate it. But he just picked himself up some of those artists' listeners. I mean, it's almost genius. It's almost genius what he's doing. It's just that it's not that genius.
You're a problem to yourself. And y'all be saying some shit that country singers ain't supposed to say. Luke Combs. That thing on Joe Rogan, that would, if I was your daddy, I'd be so mad at you. I ain't lying. How you gonna sit there and be like, yeah, you know, Joe, if someone killed my entire family, Joe, I'm gonna move my hands like a girl, Joe. Like, seriously, Joe. I don't know what's up with you talking like a girl now, but that shit is fucking weird. Like you must have been hanging around these motherfuckers downtown for too long. Look at the flick of the wrist. Look at how you talk on the interview. You talk like a girl. And you know, I'm not even saying this shit to bash nobody. I'm saying this shit in the name of country music.
Yeah, he's not doing it to bash anybody, people, but just wait.
Country singer's supposed to be a tough motherfucker, not a sissy who's like, man, you know, if a guy killed my entire family, I would want him to live with the problems of being Luke Combs instead of going to prison.
Is if like
so? I mean, listen. So gay people can't be country artists? Wasn't there one that was like on that he got famous from American Idol? Wasn't his name like Clay Aiken or something like that? Wasn't it Clay Aiken? I think that's the name. Like, what about him? You know? Like, you're telling me that there's no gay country artists? I mean, like, what are you talking about? So, like, I mean, what difference does that make? Like, are you sitting here and you're trying to tell me that, I mean, dude, didn't you see fucking Brokeback Mountain, bro? You know what I mean? Like, cowboys could be gay, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just because a guy puts a dick in his mouth doesn't mean that he can't rope a fucking cow. You know? Can't ride a horse. I mean, like, dude, there's like proof. There's proof, people, that you can absolutely ride a horse if you're gay. For instance.
So how did you like that?
Loved it. I want to ride that horse again sometime. Ooh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had to.
Like, if someone like murdered my whole family, I would rather them be free and live with what I had than go to jail.
Wait, let me hear that again.
Is if someone like murdered my whole family, I would rather them be free and live with what I had than go to jail.
So what he's basically saying there, I don't know if anybody caught that, but what he's basically saying there is that his childhood was so bad and how he was living was so bad that he would rather that be the punishment, the way that he had to live be the punishment for killing his whole family rather than them going to jail. Maybe he's actually spent time in jail. Who knows? Maybe he spent time in jail. Maybe he knows what that's like. I don't know. I don't know Luke Combs. All I know is that he sings really well, and he just recently had a hit song, and that dude is blowing up, and Ryan Upchurch is slowly becoming forgotten about. And it sounds like he's having a temper tantrum about it.
I don't even know what the fuck that means. I don't even know how to take that sentence. I don't.
I just explained it.
Even if that's how you do feel, why in the hell would you tell everyone on the internet? Yeah, if my family gets murdered, I'm just gonna be like, man, at least that person's not me. That's pretty much what you're saying. It's obvious your priorities are
that's not
out
what
of
he's
whack. You are out of
That's
touch.
not what he said at all. Again, I'll explain it because it was very simple. I didn't even have to hear the context. Like I fully understood what he fucking meant by that statement. If somebody were to kill my whole family, I'd rather them go free and have to live the way that I had to live rather than them go to jail. Now, maybe that's a fucking stretch. It's fair to have an opinion on that statement because you might not agree with it. You might just be like, what the fuck? But the thing is you don't know how he lived, and you don't know how what his struggles are. Like maybe he's just being very open, and it's actually very difficult, especially I would imagine for a roughneck country singer that, is supposed to be tough, according to him, by his definition of tough. I guess it makes a country singer a pussy to admit their ailments. Because the thing about depression and anxiety, people, and I'm not a mental health professional in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to be clear about that. But I've always been very open about my struggle with depression and anxiety. Now, I don't use it to feel sorry for myself, but I don't think that that's what he was doing. I think that this is a person who he is a well-known personality, a celebrity even, this Luke Combs gentleman, a well-known personality who has some mental health awareness and insight due to experience to share with others who listen to him who might actually have the same struggles. And it always helps to know that somebody else feels the same way. Because the thing is these things lead to suicide from time to time. Ryan, I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if you knew that depression and anxiety can lead to suicide. So when people become afraid to express themselves and people become afraid to admit to anyone else, much less themselves, that they need help, that they have a problem, and that they need help, well, then that person is much more at risk of hurting themselves or someone else, even, considering these mass shootings that have been taking place. So it's extremely irresponsible to have 3 million subscribers and make it out to be as if you're being a pussy, quote unquote, according to him, if you're expressing your feelings and your struggles about depression and anxiety. It's extremely irresponsible for someone with that much influence who has, and I've dealt with these idiots, these people who refer to themselves as the Creek Squad, which I call the Cuck Squad. But a lot of these people that I've had to deal with have been complete and utter morons. Some of them have been okay, but others have been complete and utter morons, completely influenced by this guy, and anything that he says is gospel. And I would imagine it takes a weak disposition to be so devoted to every single word that comes out of this guy's mouth. And I would bet that a number of those people struggle with depression and or anxiety, having such weak dispositions and self-opinions to where they're going to follow anything that this guy says. Because if you look at him, he's nobody to follow what he says. If you listen to him, he's nobody to follow what he says. So some of these people, I can guarantee you, are struggling with these issues. Nobody's immune to them. And it's extremely irresponsible that some of these people are listening to this. It's extremely troubling that some of these people are listening to this display of irresponsibility coming from this guy. But it's not something that I in good conscience can ignore. Now, I'm not offended by it because, again, I struggle with anxiety, depression. It's something that I'm very candid about, but it's on me. I have a strong enough disposition to where I know that it's me who's going to be able to have to handle it. And, you know, I'm past the phase of asking for help and doing, I already know what I need to do for me to manage it. And it's not for anybody else necessarily. I found out what it is for me. So what he's saying does not affect me, other than the empathy that I feel for the people who don't have such strong dispositions as myself, who look up to him in such a bizarre way that I can't really explain. But they look up to him as much as they do. Nevertheless, they do. And it's very scary that someone who is so easily influenced by this kind of stupidity, I worry about what they're capable of doing if they do struggle with depression and or anxiety. And notice that I use the word struggle. See, I struggle with it, but there are some who suffer from it because they haven't gotten a handle on it yet. And that's the only thing that you can do. In my experience, the only thing that you can do is get a handle on it, because it's never going to go away. That's the thing about depression and anxiety, is there's no cure for it. You can't just take a pill and then it goes away. You know, you could take pills and treatment for it. And if that is what's best for you and how to manage it, then by all means do so. But nevertheless, it is still a form of managing it. My point being is that there's no other way around it. You have to find your own way to manage it, because everybody's mind is different. Everybody's wants and needs are different. Everybody's bodies are different. And you just have to figure out what that balance, that perfect storm is for you to keep that shit back here and not affecting your everyday life. Keep it locked up. And when I say keep it locked up, I don't mean don't tell anybody about it, don't seek help. I mean, keep it at bay. Keep it in its own little room, and you've got the key. But always know that it's there. And everybody has to have their own way of doing that. But for him to do what he's doing right now and tell you that you're a pussy or even gay if you're expressing these things is completely fucked up. Because I wonder how many of his fans are in the closet and afraid to come out because their parents would disown them. You know, I wonder how many of his followers are struggling with these kind of problems, and he just has no regard for any of them, even though they spend their hard-earned money on the gas to get to his shows and for the Apple Music to download the music, and for the concessions at his shows and for the merch, all that hard-earned money that they spend. And this guy doesn't seem to care about that aspect of his. Is that what he's saying here? That he doesn't care about those fans? That if you think that you struggle from or suffer from depression or anxiety, well then I don't care about you. I don't care how much of my shit you buy. Is that what he's saying here?
Of touch with reality. If you care and you love your family, you are, under correct circumstances, not gonna like the person who tries to harm your family. You're not gonna be like, well, at least that guy's not me. There's another part in the interview that is bizarre as well. It's Luke Combs talking about how he doesn't understand that his brain makes up random scenarios. He goes on to explain, he's like, I'll be sitting there on the sidewalk, and then I'll see cars coming down the street, and I think to myself, like, what if I jump out in front of this car? Like, why did I think of that? I could get hit by the car. Yeah, you could if you crossed the street. You chose not to cross the street. You make the good choice to not get hit by a car. Why are you thinking that? Gee, I don't know. Maybe a fucking adult one time when you were a kid said, hey, if you cross the street, you'll get hit by a fucking car.
Like someone that really...
What those are called, Cuckchurch, I'll explain to you. Those are called suicidal thoughts, which are common in people who suffer or struggle with depression and or anxiety. That's what those are called. They're called suicidal thoughts, which is why what you're doing is extremely dangerous. Because you think in your mind, what you're doing is you're thinking, okay, well, I'm just talking about Luke Combs. It's this guy right here is the only person I'm talking about. I don't give a fuck about nobody else. But you're saying that message. You don't realize the impact that part of that message sends. That part that says, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. That last part of that message, I don't give a fuck about anybody else, is what you're saying. And there are people who are fanatical about your music to where the idea of you not giving a fuck about them is devastating to them. It's devastating to them because you write music, and I've seen so many of them say so. You write music that these people relate to as if you're speaking for them, as if you're reaching into their soul and pulling out the words that they just can't muster. But that's exactly how they feel. And you're basically saying that those people, those that you have this impact on, who buy all your shit, spend all of their hard-earned money on it, you don't give a shit how they feel. And you don't give a shit if they realize that you don't give a shit about them.
Really loves God, and that's a core part of their being, is they would go, well, what if I hate God? And that thought it comes and it's gone as far as it can. That thought in your brain triggers a flight or fight response. So you get this mega adrenaline dump panic attack moment. So then that gives it validity to your brain. It says, this is something.
Let me hear that one more time.
It's God. And
if you cross the street, you'll get hit by a fucking car.
Like someone that really loves God, and that's a core part of their being, is they would go, well, what if I hate God? And that thought it comes and it's gone as far as it can. That in your brain triggers a flight or fight response. So you get this mega adrenaline dump panic attack moment. So then that gives it validity to your brain. It says, this is something we need to be concerned about. Yeah. So it starts sending that thought more and more and more. And the obsession becomes, why did I have that thought? What does it mean? Do I really hate?
I mean, I'm following every fucking thing this guy's saying, and the balls that it takes for him to say what he's saying and admit that thought process, because it sounds fucking crazy. But I can tell you right now, the fact that that dude had the balls to publicly say that on Joe Rogan makes me feel confident to say I've had thoughts like this too. And I've had thoughts that seem so mundane that they become something that I obsess over, and I can't sleep. I can't eat. And it becomes something so, and that's the disorder. It's not having the thought. It's the disorder of for no rational reason obsessing over it. That's why the R, the first R in glare, stands for rationality. Because I have to remind myself to be rational. That's an exercise that I use. And for those of you that are new to the channel, and I've explained this many times, many of you guys already know this, but the GLARE is an acronym that I created for myself as just a bunch of keywords that help me manage my depression and anxiety. And this is a good example. So when I start to have, I apply logic, which is the L, right? I apply logic when these things start to happen. And I go, well, wait a minute, that's kind of a crazy thought. And then I apply rationality, which means I go, okay, wait a minute. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense that I am so obsessed with this thought right now. It's so I have to remind myself to be rational and to think rationally. This isn't rational to obsess over this, Will. You've got to like knock that off. Don't be fucking don't do that to yourself. And then I'll go to the gym, or I'll do whatever I have to do, or I'll talk to somebody that I really, really care about, who, if you have somebody like this in your life who's never going to judge you, it's a blessing. It's beyond a blessing. And if you have somebody like this that you could talk to literally at any time, then it's incredibly a blessing. Because you may not be able to go to the gym, or you may not be able to do whatever it is that you do to physically distract yourself and put your mind on another focus, on a positive focus. So these things are really, these things are what I use. I'm not saying for anyone else. That's, you guys do whatever the fuck you want. I'm not saying this to be preachy. I'm not saying it to fucking sell books. You know, I'm saying this is what works for me. And I had to do a lot of work for that to be enough to where I can drink from time to time, and I'm not doing it to self-medicate. I'm doing it to celebrate and have a good time. And I could separate that. It takes a lot of work. Takes a lot of self-discipline, and it takes a lot of self-awareness. It takes a lot of looking in the mirror and going, dude, without being able to obsess and go, fuck, I'm such a fucking douche and I'm such a piece of shit, blah, 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 because that can happen. So you have to be rational about your self-awareness, and you have to be, you know, logical about it. And you have to be empathetic even towards yourself. So it takes a lot of work to be able to do this. And I'm not perfect. I fuck up. I fuck up. Bottom line is I struggle with anxiety and depression, meaning it's a struggle at all times. So from time to time, I might slip up, you know, and be irrational. I might slip up and be illogical. You know, it happens. These are things that I use to try to keep these things in check. These are not things that I have labeled myself. These are things, the opposite, things that I have to consciously remind myself to apply. But that's me. But the thing is I also keep this kind of things to myself. But I'm so glad that this guy had the foresight and the courage, honestly, to be on Joe Rogan, where millions of people are listening, millions of people, and this guy is putting himself out there. That takes fucking guts. That is the opposite of being a pussy. And it doesn't matter if he sings country music or he raps or he's a metalhead or none of that shit fucking matters. Depression and anxiety hits anybody. Doesn't matter what you're into, doesn't matter what you do for a living, doesn't matter how you were brought up. None of that shit matters. It's just something that happens to certain people. It doesn't matter how weak or how strong you are. It's just, it happens.
Eat this thing, and it essentially attacks the things that are essentially the antithesis of who you actually are, right? So a lot of people have like violent obsessions where they would have a thought of like stabbing somebody. They don't want to stab anybody.
Right.
Really, at the core of their being, they're probably the most gentle soul in the world, which is why the thought causes them anxiety. And so then they become obsessed. Like they get on their phone and they're like, why did I have this? Like, what are the symptoms of being a psychopath? And so these themes, when you have them, they shift over time. And then you have another thought that's different, a different theme, and it just switches like that.
Like, I know exactly what he's talking about.
I don't understand anything he just said. I tried.
Clearly,
what are
you
saying?
don't.
You have a problem with thinking for yourself?
That is not what he said at all.
You need to shut the fuck up.
I mean, like...
Boy, cunt.
What is it gonna take to what is it gonna take to get you to use your fucking brain, to apply the same smarts that allow you to be a successful musician? What is it gonna take? I mean, you expect people to feel sorry for you because of your mommy and daddy problems, right? And you're a grown man who they live off of, and yet, I mean, and you have the audacity to look down on someone else's problems, legitimate problems. Because make no mistake, doesn't matter who you are, we all have problems. We all have problems. But if you're going to be the type of person to criticize someone for complaining about their problems, well, then don't do it yourself. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. Now, I mean, I'm one of those people that I will complain from time to time, but I do make a conscious effort not to complain, because no good ever comes from it. You know what I mean? Like I've always said, and don't steal this, but when people say things like, I love when people tell me, well, you know, I'm not complaining, I'm venting. There's a difference between complaining and venting. No, there's not. There's not. Venting is a made-up word designed to excuse complaining. That's all it is. Just own it. You're having a bitch fest. Sometimes I get it. You do it. You know, we all do it from time to time. But some people just love to do it. And they don't give a shit about the energy in the room that they're sucking from every productive thought and every productive soul in that room. They don't seem to give a fuck. And then they will just sit there and complain and complain and complain, and then play off someone's empathy and someone's obligation to themselves to be the person to go, okay, I'm going to be here and listen. See, I'm not that guy anymore. I'll tell you right now, I'm not that guy. If you are one of those people that just complains for the sake of just wanting to complain, I am the first person that's going to be like, listen, I think I'm going to head out. I won't do it. I will not put myself through that. Like, if I have enough foresight to fucking try to like control not being a fucking succubus in a room with negative bullshit and acting like my problems are more valid to bring up and spill all over everyone than anybody else's problems that they're holding in for the sake of being polite, knowing that everyone has their own fucking problems. Like, no, I'm not going to be that nice person that's going to be like, yeah, okay, I'll listen to this. I'm going to say no. I'm going to go, fuck you. Like, if I got to do it, you got to do it. Shut up. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't fucking do it.
All the different thoughts is called thinking. Remember when he's talking about the thing where you're like, man, when I'm at a sidewalk, I think like, man, if I jumped out in front of a car, and then you don't, that's your instinct keeping you alive.
Right.
So my thing is pure.
Okay. For some people, it's not. For some people, it's not an instinct to not jump in front of that car. For some people, going through a fucking shitstorm in their fucking brain, because I've gone through these shitstorms before, for those people, it's actually a struggle to not jump in front of that car. You start to think, you apply empathy, right? You start to think, okay, well, how is this going to affect that person in the car? Are they going to crash and get hurt themselves? I don't want to take anyone with me. That's fucked up. How is this going to affect my mom? How is this going to affect my siblings? How is this going to affect my father? How is this going to affect my children? You start thinking of those things until you exhaust yourself and you finally just go to sleep and get past another day. That's what it's like. And if you just stop and thought about it for a second, because you don't really have to go through this to actually have some empathy and think, well, I don't know what it's like to struggle with these kind of thoughts, so maybe it's like this for them. I don't know. But a common sense person would illustrate this the same way that I just did. A common sense person who even doesn't experience these things a common sense person with some sense of empathy would say, okay, well, I don't know what that's like. Who knows what that's like? Who knows it takes every fiber of their being to not jump in front of that car? And they have to think of a bunch of reasons to not do so.
Pure OCD is right, where there's these unanswered questions in your mind that can never be answered.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought everybody had unanswered questions in their mind. I didn't think that everyone knew everything about everything. This is what I'm saying. What is going on with the country singers? It's like their brains are fried and they're just they're breaking down. Luke Combs, weak, anxiety.
Dickhead. What he was illustrating was the fact that it is a disorder. That's why it's called obsessive compulsive disorder. He was describing OCD in that instance and saying that the obsessive compulsive disorder is exactly that. It is a disorder to obsess over these thoughts. That's the disorder. And it causes anxiety. It leads to anxiety. That is what he's describing. And he is admitting that it is a disorder. He can't help it. What are you going to do next? Just tell somebody who's paraplegic to just get up and walk? That they're being a pussy because they can't just get up and walk? Is that what you're suggesting? Because this is what, again, called a disorder. It means you can't control it. Now, I particularly don't have OCD, but I have met people who do. And no, I'm not talking about the idiots that overuse terms. People who sit there and say, oh my God, well, my socks have to match because I'm OCD. No, that's not OCD. OCD is a guy I knew who, whenever he was going to smoke a cigarette, he had to open and close his pack a certain amount of times before he would pull one out. And then sometimes he'd get so scrambled and he couldn't decide on a number, and he would just start over and he'd get going and then just go into a whole fucking thing. And I can't help but feel sorry for someone like this. I'm not going to yell at them, and I'm not going to call them a pussy. That is a fucking disorder that I figure would be a nightmare to have to go through. OCD does not mean being a clean person. That's not OCD. People who say, "Oh, I'm OCD, so you know, I'm always cleaning." No, it just means you're not filthy. You're not a slob. That's all that means. That you're not a fucking slob. I'm a slob, but that doesn't mean that you're. That just means you're not a slob. That's all that means. Now, if the house is absolutely fucking spotless and you're taking fucking bleach and a toothbrush and going into the grout after you've done it 10 times and you're doing it again because you think that you sneezing contaminated the whole goddamn kitchen, that's OCD. So somebody who fucking counts money and then all of the face sides of the bills have to be facing up, that's not OCD. I mean, that's just, it's silly. And I have those little quirks, but I'm not going to begin to compare myself to somebody who's actually suffering from this. To obsess over things that there's no need to obsess over. This is what he was describing. What he was simply describing, what Luke Combs was simply describing, was that that OCD is an issue where you get a thought in your head and then you obsess over it, and you realize that it's nothing to obsess over, yet you can't help it, and you become anxious over the fact that you can't stop obsessing over it. That's not for you to sit there and say and minimize it because you don't understand it. Well, that's a shitty thing to do.
Anxiety, depression. Oh God. Hardy, weak, anxiety, depression. Oh God.
I don't know who Hardy is.
I'm okay, guys. Hi, I'm okay. You see me? I'm okay. Morgan, I'm sorry. Anxiety, depression, confusion. Y'all are all in the same little group. Who the fuck? What's going on over there? Y'all good? What could be the problem to all this shit they're talking about? Well, I mean, come on, bro. Let's just be real. These people that I'm naming do not engage with y'all like we're able to. Really? We don't know these people, bro. They keep us from knowing these people. And then look, they all end up all fucked up on the internet telling everybody how weak they are. That's not what you're supposed to do. And I ain't even talking about music.
They're not weak though. They're not talking about how weak they are. They're actually showing strength by admitting that there's going to be people out there like you who are going to see it as a weakness, but they're reminding people that it's not. It's not a weakness. What they're doing is absolutely counterproductive to what you're doing. Or actually, it's productive to what you're doing is being counterproductive to their being productive. They are letting their fans know that, hey, so it doesn't matter. You could be a tough guy. You could be a bodybuilder. You could be special forces, and you might suffer from OCD or anxiety or depression. These things happen to anybody. It does not make them weak. It makes you weak for not having a desire to understand it. It makes you feeble-minded. And anybody with any intelligence can see this.
If you love your fellow human, you want to do and say things to push them out of, if you got to, whatever funk they're in. Y'all all depressed and all this shit. Tell your fucking record label that makes millions and 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 millions of your dollars and be like, hey, asshole, y'all got us in the fucking city every fucking day of our life with honk, 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 honk. Lead them Broadway girls. Honk, honk, honk,
I don't even
lead
know.
them Broadway girls. Honk,
I don't know even what's going on right now. Like, I'm completely.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm completely lost.
with everybody and their mama being like, look, there they are. Look, there they are. Look, there they are. Your record label should buy y'all a fucking ranch for all y'all. They ain't got to buy fucking 10 ranches for everybody. Buy one. Put you a studio on the ranch. Tell the label, be like, hey, we need to do it like Cuckchurch. We need 5 Can-Ams. We need 5 4-wheelers. We need a stocked pond. We need trails.
Why would they, if they're clearly making more money than you and selling more records than you, which they clearly are, and you're clearly showing just sheer jealousy for it, why would they follow your business plan? Why would they follow your business model if their business model is clearly more successful than yours? I mean, that okay.
Hills to ride. We need a place to bring our friends to where we can, what do you know, be country boys. You know what I'm saying? Make the content, put it out there, let people know who we are. They can't though.
You know who else were country boys? Ennis Delmar and whatever Jake Gyllenhaal's fucking name was in that movie. They were country boys. They were what did Randy Quaid say that they were doing? Stemming the rose. I gotta tell you, and I'm not afraid to admit this, folks. Okay, I am not afraid to admit this. Like, love stories annoy the shit out of me because they're all the same, right? But I am not afraid to admit I am secure in my masculinity in saying, secure enough in my masculinity in saying that Brokeback Mountain is easily my favorite love story on film. Simply because it's fucking so bizarre. It's absolutely original. You've got the early 60s Wyoming where being gay is gonna get you fucking killed. And it was just hilarious to know that, like, to watch like people around them that knew it and everyone acted like they didn't know it. And but the thing is Ang Lee directed this movie and it is beautifully shot. It won the Oscar for best score. Like, it's just an all around really good movie. And when you compare what is his name? Heath Ledger. When you compare Heath Ledger's performance in that movie versus The Dark Knight, right, where he plays the Joker, like, it's clear that this man, if he would have like went on acting, if he would have went on living his career in acting, he would have just set a whole new standard for it. This guy was incredibly talented. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a really good movie. Like, you have to be, if you're a man who likes movies, right? And you say that movie is terrible or you don't like that movie, you either just simply have bad taste in movies or you're a homophobe or both. Simple. Sorry. It's just a damn good movie. It just is, you know, like, it's just a damn good movie. But it teaches us something as far as this particular stream goes, that as far as this video that we're reviewing goes, it teaches us that this guy doesn't really know what cowboys are capable of, that country boys are really capable of. because he probably should see it.
They're already being somebody they ain't because somebody at the label told them, hey,
oh, yeah,
artist
you got
that I
the
barely
reference.
know, and you barely know me.
Michael got the reference right on. I've wanted this shirt since I saw that movie when I was 10 years old, people. Okay? 10 years old. And then I was like a grown-ass man. Couldn't have it then because my mom knew I would wear it to school, get in trouble. I got it now.
Me, here is your character. That's why you don't see any characteristics of these people. There's no unique things that stick out to make you
Or
go,
in the
oh,
closet,
yeah.
right, guys? Or in the closet.
I have that same exact weird quirk. They don't do that. They ride the fence. I build the fence. Hardy, you another one. Your bus tipped over and some stuff fell off the shelves and y'all bonked y'all's head. Nobody got hurt. Everybody's fine. I watched the videos that you put out about that situation. You're a fucking drama queen. I seen one of the statuses of one of your band members be like, oh, we drove off the interstate and the bus just kept flipping through the woods. No, the fuck it didn't. It tipped on its side. None of y'all was hurt. The bus driver was hurt.
Okay.
He went to the hospital. He was fine.
Like, you realize this guy survived a fucking bus crash where the bus fucking flipped over. Like, you've watched too many movies where people come out unscathed in these situations. Like, it's a miracle that they got out of that unscathed. I have to look this up. Let's give me 1 second here, folks. All right, let's see what Hardy's. I don't know who Hardy is, but let's see who Hardy's. Let's hear what he had to say about his bus accident.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Country Cast. Country singer-songwriter Hardy turned to social media yesterday on October 4th and provided fans with an update surrounding his condition and his team's condition since the horrific crash that they were involved in after Hardy's performance out at Country Thunder in Bristol, Tennessee on this past Saturday, October 1st. Now, real quick before we get to Hardy's update, for those who may not yet be aware of this situation, Hardy posted this initial statement that you see here onto his Instagram on Sunday, October 2nd, where he wrote, "Following last night's show, our tour bus was in an accident on our way home from Bristol. There were just 4 of us, including myself, on the bus. However, we were all treated for significant injuries. Our friend and bus driver need your prayers as he is still in the hospital. His family is with him while he is
Okay. He just said that they were treated for significant injuries. And Cuckchurch just said that they weren't hurt.
Being treated, and we're all pulling and praying for him. I've been released from the hospital, but ordered by doctors to recover for the next few weeks, which may cost us at a couple of shows. My team and I will keep the fans updated on that as I rest in the coming days. Please keep our road family in your prayers, and I promise to keep you updated in the days to follow. God bless our medics and local and state officials for their quick response and incredible service. Signed, Hardy." And now we are going to get to the update provided by Hardy yesterday, where he shared that he, Noah, and his videographer and photographer Tanner are all okay. However, his bus driver Ricky is still in need of prayers as he remains hospitalized. Here is Hardy's update.
What's up, guys? Hardy here. Just giving you an update on myself. I'm okay. Just got done hanging out with Tanner. Tanner is okay. Noah is okay. We still want you guys to pray for our bus driver, Ricky. who is still not in the clear yet. So if you guys could please pray for him, that would be greatly appreciated. I have decided that it is my best interest to cancel the shows that I have coming up, and that is Arlington, Texas, and that is Flanagan's in Columbus, Ohio. I'm very sorry, but it's just what I need to do right now. And Ernest will be taking my place in Arlington, Texas, and we will reschedule Flanagan's in Columbus, Ohio for July 1st, 2023. I love you guys. Thank you for all the love and support. And just keep praying for Ricky, my bus driver. He really needs it, and he got a good report tonight, but he needs all the love and all the prayers that he can get. I love you guys, and we will 100% bounce back from this, and it's going to be bigger and better than it ever was before. I love you guys, and we will be fine in time. So thank you again, and see you guys out there.
An absolute terrifying event, and it is totally understandable that Hardy is taking time away from performing, and we are praying and sending our love to Hardy and his team as they recover. And again, guys, please send out your prayers for the bus driver.
I mean, hold on a second. Let me let's see what other shit there is on this Hardy dude. There's another one here, I think. All right, so here's this emotional update. Unless, no, that's not. Just give me a second. I want to see. Yeah, like I'm not seeing anything about his emotions or anything. So I guess it doesn't matter. Like, but I didn't see anything that this guy was whining in any way, shape, or form. He seemed like he was absolutely he seemed like he was just simply giving an update because his fans are going to be concerned. Your bus flips over, your bands are going to be concerned. You know how many fans of Metallica are probably fans of this Hardy guy? Cliff Burton died. Metallica lost Cliff Burton in a bus accident. I mean, it's sad, man. Like the worry. I mean, you don't know how close he is to that bus driver. You have no idea. Like these people become best friends out there, man. Dude, I met. Okay, there's a band that I really like called High on Fire, right? Years ago, I got to see them. They played a venue that my band used to play, and they were Matt Pike, the front man, was sitting at the bar, and I was a big fan. And but I don't like to like bother celebrities and get selfies and shit. I don't like to do that. But I was just grateful that they were playing this small venue and we were going to get to see them because they were loud, man. And in that venue, I knew it was going to be amazing. And so like, I walked up to him and I was like, hey man, I really hope that you have a great show, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you so much for coming out here and playing out here. Cause this club, this venue is in the middle of fucking Little Haiti in Miami. And if you're familiar with Little Haiti, dude, like it's dangerous, like it's fucking dangerous. Like whenever we play shows there, we had to pay a crackhead basically what they would do is a crackhead will come up to your car and they know you're about to play a set, and they'll come up to your car and they're like, hey, we'll watch your car. Just give us a few bucks and we'll watch your car. Make sure nobody breaks into it. Translation, yeah, I'm going to break into your car unless you pay me and to not break into your car. That's basically what that means. And you would just give it to him. You just give him $5, $10, whatever the fuck. But this happened. And so for High on Fire to come out and play this venue, because everyone hated playing Miami because there were hardly any good venues to play at. So I was just really grateful, and I was like letting him know, and he goes, his response was like, hey man, you freaked me the fuck out. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, when you first walked in that door, man, I fucking freaked out. He was like, you are the doppelganger of my old bus driver who died. And he was one of my best friends. And he, like, I was stupid and I brought this girl along. This is a true story. Matt Pike told me this story when I met him. This happened. He's like, I was on tour with this girl. I brought, like an idiot. We were young or whatever. And I brought a girl on tour with us. And another friend of mine who came along, my bus driver who died, he's no longer alive, but I'll never forget him. He was one of my dearest friends because he fucking, yes, sleep did rule. Sleep still does rule. They're still together. He realized that this guy who's supposed to be my friend is fucking my girlfriend while we're at rehearsal, and fucking he busted in the room and fucking beat the shit out of the guy and fucking threw him out and threw the girl out too. And then came to me and was like, listen, this is what happened. This is what I had to do. Do what you want. That was it. And like, you just never know the impact, like the people that you spend time on the road with, and you're going to have, like, if you're a good-hearted musician, you're grateful that you have a bus to tour in. That means that you have a bus driver. You're going to fucking love that person. You know what I mean? That person is getting you from gig to gig to gig, sleeping when they can, eating when they can. You're going to be grateful for that person. So, and all he was doing was saying, hey, we're all okay. And if he's saying, and some other thing that I didn't see, saying that he's emotionally traumatized by it, of course he's emotionally traumatized by it. His bus driver's hanging by a thread, still needs prayers, according to him. And he was in a bus that flipped over, man. That's got to be traumatizing. That's got to be fucking traumatizing. I mean, until you've been in that situation, Cuckchurch, I don't want to hear you fucking call somebody a pussy because they're expressing their feelings about it. Like, who the fuck are you?
And then I see Hardy on there. Guys, we need prayers, y'all. We bus driver is not in the clear yet. He ain't in the clear.
Wow.
Why would you do that?
Because,
why would you do that?
Because he cares about his bus driver, you dickhead. Because he cares about his bus driver and he believes in the power of prayer. And if he tells all the people that are following him and hoping that he pulls through to pray to say, hey, we're okay, but our bus driver still needs prayers. Fucking, that's what you do. That's what you do for that bus driver. When you have a platform, you use it responsibly. You use it ethically. You use it spiritually if you can. And that was a spiritual way of doing so. That was a very, very unselfish thing to do. Was to be grateful for as many fans as he has, hoping for his recovery and make sure that his health is intact, but saying, hey, listen, but our bus driver is hanging on. So those prayers that you were sending for us, send them for him. He really needs them. That's a beautiful gesture. That's not him grifting. That's not him complaining. That's not him whining. That's him simply performing a kind gesture with the following that he has. Unreal.
Why would you make it out to be something it's not? The bus didn't flip through the fucking woods and all the shit that y'all said it did. It just didn't.
I challenge Cuckchurch. I challenge him to go into the extent of the injuries that this bus driver has. Because I bet you, A, they're not public, and B, he doesn't know them anyway, even if they were. He's just making a hate video. That's all he's doing.
It tipped over on its side once. You got some boo-boo, you'll be okay. You ain't fucking dead, you'll be okay. That was over a fucking year ago. A new video just came out a week ago where I'm sorry, y'all, got to cancel shows because it busted, tipped on its side a year ago, man. Anxiety. I'm scared.
You don't think this guy wants to make money?
Y'all are pussies. And as a fellow country music singer, I'm telling y'all, stop being pussies. Somebody giving you this shit to say to make you look stupid as fuck, you should crumble the paper back up.
Now, look at his eyes, people. Don't tell me that this isn't drugs. Like, do not tell me that this isn't drugs. Look at his eyes. If you guys have, if you're watching this on your computer screen or on your TV screen, I mean, his pupils are dilated as fuck, and he has a ring light shining in them. Like, he knows how to make videos, and he has a light shining directly at his face, like every other YouTuber does when they make videos where they're on camera. And when you shine light in your eyes, right, directly into your eyes, your pupils are supposed to shrink. Your pupils dilate in order to adjust to darkness. When they naturally dilate, it is to adjust to darkness. This guy, his pupils are fucking huge right now. Like, you're not going to tell me this dude is not on drugs, bro. Like, you're not going to tell me this dude is not on drugs right now. There's no way that him having a light shining directly into his eyes right now, his pupils are going to be that big. There's no fucking way unless he is on something.
Up and throw it in their fucking face like a fucking man. Oh, go ahead. Listen to your PR person. Just don't say nothing.
No, I suspect Adderall.
You'll still be a little sissy.
I suspect Adderall. I mean, look at his eyes right now. Like, massive pupils. Massive. But I suspect Adderall because he's admitted to using Adderall before. But, I mean, in Tennessee, meth is real big too, so I wouldn't put it past him.
See, old school country lyrics are so much fucking better.
I mean, that's what Adderall is.
I'm the kind of man wouldn't harm.
Adderall is an amphetamine, so.
I'm a mouse, but if I catch somebody breaking in my house, I got a 12-gauge shotgun waiting on the other side. Yeah, right. Hardy gonna grab a fucking dildo and a fucking water gun and call the cops. Popo, there's a bad guy here, Popo. I don't hate none of y'all. I don't dislike none of y'all.
Wow.
But I do dislike the fact that y'all are encouraging young kids to go in their room and just stay sad and stay depressed.
No.
You know what you're doing? You're helping the fucking government.
What? What? What they're doing are encouraging kids to have the strength to get help if they need it. There's a big, big difference. They are encouraging kids to get help, mental health help, if they need it. That's what they're doing. They're encouraging them to muster up the courage to admit when they need help and get help from a loved one or a professional. That is exactly what these people are doing. Nothing else. They're not encouraging kids to stay in their room and be sad. I'd love for him to clip that, because he hasn't clipped that yet. He hasn't clipped anybody saying this, and that's a very dangerous thing for him to say, that these very successful country artists with such large followings, that's a serious allegation to make. That they're encouraging kids to just sit in their rooms and be sad, and that it's being a pussy to express yourself and ask for help.
You're helping the fucking government push all these things that fix all these fucking problems. You know what fixes these problems? Going outside, hanging out with your friends.
Okay, so that's very dangerous too. Although I don't use medication, even though I'm clinically diagnosed with depression and anxiety, I choose not to take medication. And the reason why I choose not to take medication is because I couldn't do this the way that I do it if I was on medication. I couldn't do it. The light in my eyes would be gone. The playful, the times where I get hyper and I get silly and I get real I break down into an immature child and just start having giggle fits and things like that. That part of me goes away. That's the cost of me having to take medication to control my anxiety and depression. That's the cost. And I'm not willing to pay that cost. So I found ways to manage it as best as I possibly can. But in no way, shape, or form would I ever discourage anyone else from taking medication if they need medication. If a mental health professional diagnoses you and prescribes you medication, by all means, do whatever your therapist or doctor tells you have to do. Please follow their instructions. I'm not a mental health professional. I am not here to tell anybody else what to do or how to manage their issues. That is not what I'm here to do. And if I get people who show up in my chat, which has happened before, and it's been controversial, I've had people show up in my chat and say, "Hey, I'm feeling suicidal and I don't know what to do." And I go, "I'm not the one to talk to." And Cherry will put up a mental health, a helpline, and you call that, because those people are trained in helping you. I am not. I am not trying to be up here and be a hero for content. That is not what I'm going to do. I am not going to gamble with your well-being in that manner. I refuse to do that. I am simply not qualified to guide you through a situation like that. So, but just as dangerous it is for me to do that, it is just as dangerous for him to do what he's doing, which is discouraging people from getting help and saying that the right thing for anyone to do is to just go hang out outside and do outdoor stuff. Some people just aren't built that way. Some people aren't built to be outdoorsy. Even if they're country singers, some people aren't built to be outdoorsy. And don't say that they're not real country singers, because if they're writing songs, country songs, and people who love country music are buying it, well, then they're country singers, whether you like it or not. By definition, these are country singers if they are singing country. Especially by trade, if people are buying it.
Having hobbies and doing stuff you like, That's something that none of y'all do. You stay in a fucking cubicle all day with other people you don't fucking know in a
Okay, so what country artists work out of a cubicle? I'd like a list, please. I'd like a list. I'd like a list of country artists who work out of a cubicle. Because that's a first for me. I've never heard of that.
in a busy fucking city writing about fucking people's roots and never uprooting your roots. You motherfuckers uprooted y'all's roots to get here. The fuck do you know about roots? Once again, I ain't saying that I don't like y'all's music. I ain't saying y'all that I'm better than y'all, because I'm not. We all got our own spot. But I'm not condoning to the, oh man, it's okay. I'm not fucking stroking your fucking mullet and telling you that it's going to be okay and rubbing your back. I'm going to tell you you're being a fucking sissy and you need to go outside and hang out with some dudes and do some dude shit. And you know what?
You know, I saw a movie where some cowboys were going outside with some dudes and doing some dude shit. I just talked about that movie. Those guys were doing some dude shit out. Those guys were definitely out there doing some dude shit.
If you think me taking 15, 16 minutes out of my night to make this video is mean, well, then we just ain't the same kind of country. I'm old school Nashville country. You ain't.
Except you're not. Wow. Incredible. Now, I'm simply of the opinion, if I'm being honest, I am simply of the opinion that I'm simply of the opinion that he was just doing that to try to create a rift. I think he's just jealous of those artists' success. And yeah, and he decided to just throw a temper tantrum on the internet. Throwing a temper tantrum about people throwing temper tantrums that they didn't throw on the internet. Way to go, Ryan. Way to go, Ryan. Very good. Oh, people, you know what's happening.
Different side of him. We all know that he struggled, with alcohol, with drugs, with a whole host of things, and this really does shine a spotlight on the grips of addiction and how it doesn't discriminate. And, somebody can seemingly be putting their life back together and could literally, just like that, have a fall. And, that person may or may not have a recovery left in them. We don't know if that's the case. From everything that I have been reading, TMZ came out with an article. They said that he was in his jacuzzi. I thought this was pretty good from JS for Justice. I'm not going to play it for you guys, but I do want you guys to go watch it because it's only about a few minute.
Okay. So this is Battery Betty, as I like to call her, aka Bullhorn Betty. Oh, I'm sorry, Cherry. So this is funny because she's just jumping on the Matthew Perry bandwagon, and make no mistake, okay? And I realize I'm going to come off kind of shitty here. Some people are not going to like what I have to say, but it's nothing against any actual fans of Matthew Perry, aka Chandler, from the hit television series Friends. And it's nothing against him or his loved ones. In fact, quite the opposite. But I don't know how these things work. I don't understand what the standard is for the mass public mourning of a celebrity. I don't really get it. Because now, and it's going to seem kind of biased because I hated the show Friends. I couldn't relate to one character on the show at all. And the thing is it's a show that ended 20 years ago. And the thing is to my knowledge, since that show ended, Matthew Perry has not done anything noteworthy since. I mean, unless I'm wrong, because maybe I'm just not brushed up on my popular culture. But I find it bizarre that Matthew Perry, because I can't open up a social media site or a news site or anything without seeing him mentioned days later. I can't, I don't understand it. So I don't get I don't get what makes someone be mass mourned more, one celebrity be mass mourned more than another celebrity, because it's not based on their accomplishments. It's really not. Like, this is proof of it, and I'm not saying anything against Matthew Perry. He's probably a really nice guy, and I feel bad for his loved ones and anybody who is missing him right now, of course. And he was very young, and he should not have died that way, and it's very sad. No denying that. But what I'm saying is, I don't get what makes him flood every single news feed. What makes his death flood every single news feed more than, I mean, let's take a look here real quick. Celebrity deaths 2023. Who else died this year? We're in our 10th month. We're about to start our 11th month of 2023. And let's take a look at all the people who died. Now, Richard Roundtree just died. He died 4 days before Matthew Perry. And he barely got any notoriety. And Richard Roundtree is fucking Shaft. Okay? What Richard Roundtree has done is legendary. I wouldn't call Chandler Bing legendary. I'd call Chandler Bing iconic to some degree. Sure, he was a beloved character of a very popular television show that ended over 20 years ago. I mean, but right, look, I mean, Maureen is in here saying Richard Roundtree died. You didn't even know Richard Roundtree died. He's fucking Shaft. He's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about. He's a bad mother. Shut your mouth. I'm just talking about Shaft. It's Shaft, for fuck's sake. I mean, so why did he not get nearly, even remotely, the notoriety that Matthew Perry is getting? Who else? Suzanne Summers. Suzanne Summers wasn't an iconic character. She was Chrissy on Three's Company. Three's Company was a much more successful show than Friends, I believe. And Chrissy was iconic. I mean, yes, and Richard Mole too. But I thought he died a long time ago, honestly. But why how is Chandler being more iconic than Chrissy from Three's Company? That doesn't make sense to me, because I guarantee you right now, if you have a satellite, okay, and you click on, if you type in Three's Company, right, you're going to find a channel that has played an episode of Three's Company in the last 3 hours. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, guaranteed, guaranteed. Some channel is fucking playing that shit. Who else? I mean, we can keep going. Michael Gambon. Gandalf. Dead. Died September 28th this year. Jimmy Buffett, for fuck's sake. Jimmy Buffett. Margaritaville. Like, if you're walking down the beach and you step on a fucking pop top or a bottle cap, that song is going to come into your head. Yes, Maureen, he died too. So, I mean, why isn't the world mourning these people the way that they're mourning? Because I'm seeing crazy posts from, like, a crazy amount of posts from, like, celebrities, everybody else who's just like, oh my God, he's a legend. Like, how is he a legend? You know, I mean, I know it sounds shitty. Okay, please, no dance, no dance. Even though we talked about Cuckchurch, but that would have been the first dance. But Team Brittany, thank you so much. Please, no dance. My migraine can't take it today. Rock on, Will. Right on. Appreciate it. I hope your migraine gets better. Seriously, those are a bitch. Migraines are a cunt. So I really hope you get over it. Yeah, I mean, Lisa Marie Presley didn't get nearly. I mean, it's crazy to me. I mean, so that just tells me that Bullhorn Betty is up here just talking about this because it's everyone else is talking about it. That's it. And I don't know why everyone else is talking about it. Like, I don't, like, still, like, I get it. It happened. Like, fuck. Okay, sad. You know? But I mean, and I got to admit, I'm pretty desensitized. Like, I'm pretty desensitized when it comes to celebrity deaths. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I'm you know, this might make me sound shitty, but you know, like I've lost too many people in my real life, you know, to actually mourn. Now, here's a different example though. Let me give you another example. Okay? Because very rarely does it happen, but it does happen. But I'll explain as best as I can. So when MCA from the Beastie Boys died, I remember exactly where I was when I found out. Okay? I was walking through the halls of a movie theater, past the movie posters, walking into the theater house, into the theater room to see the Avengers. And as we were walking down the street, or walking down this hallway, as we were walking down, one of my friends that I was with was looking at his cell phone, and he goes, "Oh fuck!" He stops. He goes, "Fuck!" And everybody was like, "What?" And he goes, "MCA just died." And I was like, "What?" And then I remember walking into the theater about to see the Avengers, a movie that I've been waiting literally my entire life for a live action version of, because I knew it was leading up to the Infinity War, and having read those comic books as a kid, I was just like, this was the best moment of my life. And the very beginning of this, before the movie even starts, my mood is fucked because I just found out not so much that MCA had just died. Of course, I had empathy for his loved ones and for his friends. Of course, I had empathy for that. But that's not what made me break down crying, because I did, make no mistake, I broke down crying sitting in that theater watching these ads before the previews come up. And the reason was because there was no more, I had the realization that there was never going to be any more Beastie Boys new music. No more. I was never, ever going to hear a new Beastie Boys song. Because the Beastie Boys were absolutely a trifecta. You cannot replace one of them. One of them dies, you cannot replace Ad Rock, you cannot replace Mike D, and you most definitely cannot replace MCA. And they never did. And I knew they wouldn't. And I knew it at that moment when I found out that he died, and it hit me. And I sat there and I cried over that, because the Beastie Boys were easily one of my favorite groups. Still is. I love it. I absolutely love it. And that's what made me really cry, because I had a personal connection to that music. I didn't know MCA personally, but I had a personal connection to that music. Who has a personal connection to reruns of Friends? You know what I mean? You see in my point? Like, who has a personal connection? How many, let me put it like this. How many of the people who are posting today, rest in peace, Matthew Perry, oh my God, such a loss. How many of those people do you think have a personal connection to reruns of Friends the way that the music of the Beastie Boys has to any of their fans? You know what I mean? Like, so people just jump on this weird bandwagon, you know? And it's just because it's totally an algorithm. Like, somehow this shit caught up, and every fucking news station is talking about this guy being dead. And the most he's ever brought the world was Chandler Bing. And not to take away from the fact that it did absolutely bring joy to people, but I mean, more than Suzanne Summers did, more than MCA did. You know what I mean? Team Brittany, no dance, just keep doing you. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. You're crazy. Stop. I appreciate it though, but yeah, thank you so much. It just doesn't make sense. I don't understand. I can never, things like this are why I can never just, I can just never relate to a mass amount of people like that. I just can't fucking do it. Like, I refuse to get on board with that shit. Just for the sole reason because everyone else is. Because there's no real reason why the majority of these people are posting so much and talking so much about Matthew Perry and remembering him so much. Like, there's no notariable factor about his career that makes people that merits that much more of attention than any other celebrity death. Just kills me.
That movie, a little clip that JS for Justice did, but I thought it was really impactful because it shows Matthew Perry, days before his death, and we talked to other people had talked to and
let me give you another example here. I know I'm rambling on and on here, but let me give you another example. I was a huge Alice in Chains fan. Okay. I was a huge Alice in Chains fan. I loved Alice in Chains. But the thing was, I was aware of his drug problem for years, right? Before he actually died. They put out that one album with the three-legged dog. And then after that, they just didn't put out anything for a long time. And I was just like, well, it's because, and then I realized it for sure because I was working one holiday period at Sam Goody. My ex was pregnant with my son. Actually, she just had him, actually. He was already a couple of months old. And I worked at Sam Goody during the holidays to pick up extra money. And I remember he was still alive at the time. And I remember seeing a box set, right? We were selling a box set at Sam Goody. I was like, wait a minute. Like, don't you have to be like totally incredibly well established, not really putting out any more music for a box set to be, for a band to be worthy of a box set, like to be ballsy enough to put out a box set that people will buy? I mean, I could just smell the fact that these people were not writing any new music and that they were just finding a way to sell records and sell product and pay back the money that their record company is demanding in sales. It's just, I saw right through it immediately. I was just like, they're putting out a box set. The fuck kind of arrogance is that? Like, get in the studio and record a new album. What the fuck is this? Like, they weren't that big of a, I mean, they weren't that established of a legendary status of a band yet. I thought it was arrogant as fuck. And I loved them. I thought they were great. And then it got to a point that a couple of years later, when I get the news that Lane Staley died, it hardly affected me. Because when I saw the box set, I had already mourned them. I had already mourned the music. I had already mourned Lane Staley. I knew he was the reason. I knew that he was the reason why they couldn't get into a studio and record, because this guy could not get his drugs under control. He could not get his drug problem under control. I had already mourned them. It's almost like when you have a loved one who has cancer and they have stage 4 cancer, and it's already decided that it's just a matter of time. And so you're preparing and you're doing everything. And during that process, at least when I went through it, I mourned when I found out that I was losing this person. It was hardly that much of an impact as when I found out that that person was sick and that they weren't going to get better, as it was when they finally passed on. Because when they finally passed on, they were no longer in pain anymore. They were, I had already knew. I went through the hard part already. So that was kind of like what it was with Lane Staley. I knew that these issues were drugs. I was already becoming desensitized to artists that I like, either committing suicide or overdosing. And then when I found out, I just wasn't surprised, because I felt like it was coming anyway when they were releasing a box set to make money. I was like, shit. I had already come to terms that I was never going to hear new Alice in Chains music. And sorry, but I know they kept on going and they replaced Lane Staley. But in my opinion, there's no replacement for Lane Staley. I cannot bring myself to pay money for a ticket to go see them live. I missed my opportunity to see Alice in Chains live. That's how I feel about it. But I had already mourned, See, Ozzy's going to sting because Ozzy keeps making new music. You know what I mean? He keeps doing shit. So Ozzy's going to sting a lot. You know what I mean? Like, the day he goes, it's still going to hurt real bad.
say his pickleball, one of his pickleball coaches. And they talked about how he was seemed to be doing really, really well. And I just was thinking, is this something that happened? Because, from what I hear, the jacuzzi that he has, like a jacuzzi type tub in his house, and then he has this really luxury jacuzzi outside.
I agree.
If I understood correctly, do your own research.
I mean, this is what she always does. She's making assumptions before we even actually have. I mean, let's see real quick. Matthew Perry. Cause of death right there. Let's see. And this is, let's see, let's just look under news. So 38 minutes ago, Matthew Perry's cause of death remains under investigation. Perry was found unresponsive in a hot tub in his house in Los Angeles on Saturday, the police said. It could be weeks or even months after the cause of his death is established, experts said. So here she is making all these assumptions as to what's going on. Like, do we even know that he was on drugs? She's already making the assumption that he died of an overdose or drank himself to death. Yet we don't even know if he had any alcohol in his system or not. We don't even know if he's been drinking. We don't know anything. And all I had to do was Google. That's all I had to do. So we don't even know if he actually drowned. People are saying he drowned. Some people are saying he OD'd. We don't know. I mean, this whole article is speculation too. But I mean, it's speculation based on like other medical examiners that they speak to. I mean, they're saying it's appropriate for it to take long. Sometimes it takes months to do a proper investigation. For all we know, it could have been foul play. We don't even know. I don't think it is, but I mean, we don't even know.
Have to put that out there. It's insignificant details because they didn't really identify where in the house he was at. So either outside on his porch patio, in his jacuzzi near the pool, or in his home and in his bathroom. Either way, they went out of their way to make sure everybody knew that there were no drugs or alcohol within his in the area. That law enforcement told him that there was no drugs or alcohol. I don't know why they went out of their way, but I kind of do because.
I mean, maybe it wasn't an overdose, asshole. Did you ever think of that? E. Murphy is saying, I'm pissed. People think he relapsed. He was pushing his sobriety story all summer. Go to hell. 10 years sober, I'd be livid if people assumed I OD'd. I don't blame you. That's something that you're proud of, man. That's a hell of an accomplishment. That's a hell of a fucking thing to overcome. And you never overcome it. You just deal with it every day. It's not easy. I mean, who the fuck knows? The guy was incredibly out of shape. You know? Who the fuck knows? For all we know, the guy had one too many Big Macs. Who the fuck knows? He could have simply just had heart failure. It does happen. People just have heart attacks. I mean,
I think that would really be one of the first questions that would be asked, because we've watched Matthew Perry just kind of do this spiraling effect. And over the years, I mean, we saw it on Friends. We knew something was going on with him
oh my God.
on Friends, because he just got really thin. You know, he wasn't really.
You're a little.
I don't know if it was, if we knew, you know, what was going on, because his bubbly personality almost, I mean, with a few episodes, almost mimicked. You know, it was very hard for us to know. They definitely kept that under wraps for the audience and the rest of the world, that this stuff was going on behind the scenes. But you know, we did
She's
learn
just making shit up.
it was hard to keep it under wraps for so long because he was starting to have such noticeable problems. But we watched him struggle. We watched him get better. We watched him struggle again. We watched him get better. You know, it's been it's been a struggle in his life. But even if he was,
I mean, did we really? Because I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't give a shit what was going on with this guy. But I'm also the kind of guy that I just don't really follow like what's going on with celebrities' personal lives. It's just not something that has ever interested me. I don't give a shit. I don't care who's married to who, and I don't care how many fucking kids this person adopted, and I've never given a fuck about any of that. So like, I mean, but I don't know if we watched him struggle, you know, all these years. I know I didn't. I know I didn't.
Wasn't, even if the toxicologies come back and, you know, he's doing everything, he was living right? Like, there's no drugs, there's no alcohol. He just had a cardiac arrest. He's 54 years old. And even if he, did everything he could, and there is, and just say for all intents and purposes, I don't believe it, because I was watching a video, again, go to J is for Justice, leading up to this, and this video of him, he was talking about his addiction, and you could clearly tell. It was sad.
Yeah, J is for Justice is an asshole too. And I'm sure that she was trying to spin a narrative that he OD'd. And that's just what she does to try to make her content more controversial, because she's a fucking jackass.
It was sad. It jerks you back into reality. It just lets you know, money can't buy you happiness, and it can't buy you survival either. So live your life to the fullest.
So why do you grift for it all the time?
I think that's really what we can learn. We want to say prayers for the family and friends and fans of Matthew Perry, because like me, I'm sure all are very devastated. 54. Thank you, Sonia. Did I say 50? I did say 56.
No, you said 54.
Many of us loved watching Friends. Chandler, let's be honest, Chandler Bing was among the faves for many of us. We definitely like the turmoil that Rachel and Rob.
Oh my God, dude. Is she going to give us a fucking like memory lane on the fucking lame fucking storylines of this show? God, I fucking hated that goddamn show, dude. Like I couldn't stand it. Like I couldn't relate to any of the characters. Like, look, you got these 6 friends that live right across from each other. You know, Ross is the only one that like really had his shit together, because he was a fucking, but I mean, he still couldn't get his shit together up here. You know what I mean? Like, but he was like what was it? An anthropologist or some shit like that. Right. So like, I mean, but however long that show was on, the entire show was about these people fucking each other and lying to each other about it. That's the gist that I got. Just a bunch of fucking privileged white people fucking each other and lying to each other about it. Fucking each other and then fucking the other over in the process of fucking each other. And just being a bunch of fucking liars and assholes towards each other, but they're buddies, they're friends. And then there'd be like these huge stars would show up, these cameos, these special guest parts, and just to sell the shit that much better. I mean, that's the gist I got. Sorry if I'm wrong, but
Ross always, managed to, stir up, but it's just sad. Guys, we're on to another case that is really near and dear to our hearts. It was a case that we ran that we, oh Lord, that we just really hoped had a better situation, a better ending. And it was of a 2-year-old, just a beautiful, beautiful little girl. And her name was Winter Smith. And we learned that she had the disturbing things surrounding her, why we were covering her. I know you guys know we covered her for a few days. We were trying to do everything we could to find information, to stir up some leads, to help locate this young child. There were some disturbing details coming out from her mother, which had been, if I'm not mistaken, beaten, hard, potentially, if I'll have to read again, but I didn't write those things down. She was assaulted. Okay, I don't know if she was actually physically stabbed or not, but she was assaulted. She was choked. She was hard. The mom was beaten by this guy, which happened to be her ex that she had been getting away from. Winter was not his child, but the girl did have another child.
Yeah. Now Seinfeld was definitely my shit. Seinfeld was just fucking great. That shit was just great.
Child by Rashad Trice. The reason why he is coming up is because, after Winter was found, which she was found, so again, another hard situation. Good morning. Good morning. I see a few more faces coming in. Good morning, everyone. But Rashad Trice, he's 26 years old. He obviously just lost his stuff. I don't know what made him lose his stuff, but he lost his stuff. He went over there, he hurt her, and on his way out, he left his son and grabbed the child that didn't belong to him. That child was found in an alley with cords still, charger cords still wrapped around her, and her body was found 3 days later. So the total list of charges, and if you guys remember, the feds were picking this case up. Remember that? And we had to, calm people down because there was a real concern.
Why is she talking about this like when it's from July? The latest update is from early July. I don't understand what she's doing right now.
That the feds wouldn't be able to bring the case to fruition, and people were like, oh my gosh, what now? And I said, don't worry, what they'll end up doing is just moving him into a different jail, and the district courts will pick up the case, and he's not getting out. This is not going to stop the case from going through. But I wanted to caution our audience because I was scared that people were going to start freaking out and blowing up phones, and not my phones, but Michigan's phones, saying, why are you letting this guy out? And I wanted to clarify that he was not being let out. They were just trying to determine whether he could be federally charged or he had to be charged through the state. So it sounds like they are moving the federal charges forward. At the time that he was arrested, now these charges, some of them may be modified if they haven't already. They may be removed. They may decide not to go forward with them because they don't have the evidence or they don't need it to prove their case. But this was back whenever he was arrested. He was originally arrested on one count of first-degree premeditated murder and a mandatory life sentence felony without the possibility of parole. One count of felony murder, a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. One count of assault with intent to murder, a life sentence felony. 2 counts of first-degree criminal conduct, taking somebody's arm and unaliving them, right? I get that, but it coming from, again, it's accountability for me.
I love that.
I feel right, or like, how can there be a good place? You're talking about sticking something in somebody's arm and unaliving them, right? Sticking something in somebody's arm and unaliving them, right? Sticking something in somebody's arm and unaliving them, right? Sticking something in somebody's arm and unaliving them, right? I get that, but it coming from Again, it's accountability.
Oh my God.
You know,
let's hear what Betty has to say about accountability. I love it.
I feel for everybody. You know, I feel for the victims. I feel for, you know, because some of these people that do it, they have breaks. They just have breaks. And we're going to get into Robert Card, you know, a person that I truly don't believe is a bad guy, but he did terrible things. Terrible. He did terrible things.
Let me explain something to you. Okay. When you decide to fucking kill people, knowing that it's wrong, okay? Knowing that it's wrong, and you find some remote place to off yourself after you planned to go out and kill people and then go pull it off, doing bad things to that level, I feel like crosses you over into being a bad person. You know, I'm not going to have empathy for somebody who does these things. You know, I'm just not. You know, I blame others for not taking action when the signs were there, but this guy is also a grown man and he's responsible for his actions. And if he knows that those thoughts that he's having are fucked up, then he should have gotten help to get that somehow treated. And if now here's the thing, if he committed himself into that mental institution that he spent 2 weeks in, well, then he did exactly that. And I blame the people who were in charge for letting him out. Absolutely. Team Brittany, Jesus, you're killing me. Thank you. You're crazy. Grifting 101. Seriously, Will, I love the show. But why is it necessary for her to grift after the death of Matthew, after every opportunity is taken by her sick? Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. Thank you so much. You're amazing.
To strangers, and that's the worst kind of monster I can think of. So how can I possibly feel bad for that man? We're going to get into it. But this whole death penalty thing really does have me riled up. So I'm looking at you to bring up possibility.
The problem is that we don't know the circumstances of why he didn't get the mental help that he needed. Because maybe he did. Maybe he met the requirements. Maybe he bullshitted his way out of that hospital. It's possible that he told them everything that they needed to hear so they would let him out. Because that is a common thing that you just know. You know what they're going to ask you. You know that they're going to look for certain things. And some people just know how to just answer the questions the right way to look like you're in control and that you're fine and you're not a threat to yourself or anyone else. And then they let you out. It's just, there's a procedure. But until I'm convinced of that procedure was somehow broken or misused, I'm holding him accountable for his own actions.
Abilities of, why they have elected not to exercise this DP. Give me just a second, guys. Let me get this all turned on. Get this, let's share this one instead. Make sure it's not on. And then here's our phone number for the show. If you guys would like, this is just specifically for Winter Smith's case. We're not going to be discussing any other case unless there's something absolutely dire. If there's breaking news or something that you just absolutely have to. I have to say that this is
Collins. I love it.
A pretty well-rounded live covering multiple cases and giving you guys the updates as possible.
Well-rounded.
The most up-to-date information as possible, and a few other stories that are a little creepy. I have to be honest with you. They're a little creepy.
Yeah, I can't talk shit because I open my phone lines. I could never get anybody to call.
So I almost want to stop because this next case is almost, you're not going to believe it. Is Dolly in the room? the next case is, I have to be honest, is right up Dolly's alley. And as soon as you hear why, you're going to be like, Yeah, I know why she picked this. Why she picked this for him. PJ's gonna laugh. PJ, are you in the room?
I'm retarded?
Yeah, it's me, Turtle King. Okay. So if you guys do decide to, we'll open up the phone lines later. I'm just going to keep them open, but I may have to switch it back to this side once the phone starts ringing. But we are going to go ahead and move on from Winter. Again, Winter's case, that Rashad Trice, the one that they're not seeking the death penalty. And I have to think that there's
Shut the fuck up, you cunt! Shut it!
there's something. I wonder if he's got some SA in his past. That means he was highly abused as a child. I've been reading and studying the child,
Is that why it relates to Dolly?
Because a lot of the cases, believe it or not, that are well known, really horrific, there is this hint of abuse in the dynamic, and some of these cases just downright, like you're surprised, like the Casanova killer. Have you guys ever heard of that case, the Casanova killer? And come to find out, I mean, he was this good-looking, country-looking guy, but you went on a date with him, you disappeared. You disappeared. He had this thing about picking up women at a bar. He was a very good-looking, very mild, meek man, very ginger when he's there, very he warms up to you well, and then he dupes you by saying, oh, well, I've had a lot to drink tonight. I really don't want to get behind the wheel of my car. Would you mind driving me home? So now he's almost responsible. You're looking at him like, oh my gosh, he looks gorgeous. He's a good looking man, and he's responsible. Like he's hitting all the boxes in the right spot. And this is kind of his MO. And as soon as those women leave with him, they're never.
How does this case relate to Dolly exactly? Because it doesn't sound very flattering. So Dolly relates to the guy who is the Casanova killer, who, if you go out on a date with him, you disappear. I mean, everything except the good-looking part is what, you know what I mean? Is that what's going on? Oh, because Dolly's her Casanova. Okay.
Seen again. And when and just a monster. But when you peel back the layer of onion and you look at his life, he was beaten from a very young child. His mom was an alcoholic. His dad.
Oh, are you just out here putting Dolly's fucking shit out there for everybody, bro? Is that what you're doing? What are you doing? Like, are you putting Dolly out here on Front Street? Like, what are you doing?
Dad was an alcoholic. He was, SA'd by men, by a man, his dad. I think it was his dad, but he definitely was. I don't know if he was abused in foster care or if he's abused by his own father. But when you look at all these things, now he was sentenced to death, and I'm pretty sure the Casanova killer, if I remember correctly, was actually put to death. But he still had extenuating circumstances. He may be life in prison. I can't remember. I watched so many crime cases. It's hard for me to remember the very specific key factors, because I mean that is a key factor, but I really don't know. I don't remember.
That happens to me too, but I mean, you never remember any of these things. Like, you never get anything right, ever.
But he had a lot of extenuating circumstances. Sometimes those extenuating circumstances warrant a life imprisonment because you're wrong for doing what you did, but they're basically saying that you're so messed up that in part you don't deserve death because you've already had such a rough life that brought you here. I don't think that's really what it means, so to speak.
What?
But I think that's the gist or the idea behind it. Like you've already been through so much. You did terrible things. A lot of people go through a lot of this stuff and don't turn out to be, mass killers or or other type of sadistic people.
That's
you
the
know,
stupidest
they learn
fucking
to
thing
live
I've
with it.
ever
Some of them
heard.
do. Some of the abuse becomes the abusers. It is definitely a common theme. It's a common theme, but it doesn't happen all the time. Not every abused person becomes the abuser, right? But so, you know, the ones that do are. So, all right, getting on to the next case. This is kind of a little freaky, guys, and I've got to tell you.
Okay.
This is not. Oh, we had a whole lot on.
I don't know what the point of any of that was.
Yeah, I had a whole lot on the Winter Smith case, but I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of time with it other than, oh, that's Ebor. Where's my Michael Myers? Hold on, guys. Okay, here it is.
Thank you, Days Mandy, member for 18 months. Wow, thank you so much. This woman's insane. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So here we go.
Here we go.
The Halloween. Okay. Halloween is coming up. It's coming up tomorrow.
The fuck is this?
And what would Halloween be without a Halloween crime?
Yeah, I saw that.
This is a very serious crime.
It
sounds a little comical, but believe me, it's not. It's very serious, and I'm sure that the people that were involved in this have been hurt seriously. I am very thankful no one lost their life because of this crime.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
So Michael Myers strikes again, just not on.
Lisa Oldhams, thank you so much. Member for 5 months. Wow. You catch her tin hat shirt and tin hat? Yeah, I did. I'll play it in a bit.
On the big screen, guys. Halloween's coming up, and this next story is a little spooky and scary. An Omaha, Nebraska man, Jordan Payne. Let me see if I got his. Where's his mugshot? I've got his mugshot somewhere. At least I thought I did. Must not have this in order. I had everything in order. Anyways, we'll look up Jordan Payne in just a second. Jordan Payne and his 17-year-old unidentified female companion were taken into custody on this very disturbing case of robberies. According to the Omaha Police Department, on October 23rd, officers received multiple calls about robberies and the suspicious activity in the area that occurred.
Thank you, Patricia Sell, gifted 1 membership. Scarlet Summer, congrats. Thank you so much.
Between 6:11 p.m. and 7:05 p.m. Each victim reported suspects, later identified as Jordan and his unknown underage female companion, were driving either a gray or silver sedan sponsored by your city or county.
I gotta hear what her deep thoughts are on this.
Maybe more naive about the world at the time, right? But we used to enjoy going door knocking and, you know, collecting candy and seeing all the beautiful kids with their cute little outfits. I remember my old neighborhood. I loved it when I would just sit outside and like the little babies. Oh my God. Like, you know, the cutest stinking.
It's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
I think we got a super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. Super cat. Super cat. Super cat. I think we got a super cat. I think we got a super cat.
Thank you, Senator. Cuckchurch's second best performance of the evening.
Baby outfits imaginable, right? But it was just a really fun time. It was great for the neighbors to really just get together and do something for their kids in the neighborhood. But this day and age, guys, it's hard to trust people. It's hard to trust people with our kids. It's hard to collect candy from strangers now. It's starting to become, we don't know what lies around the corner, but we do know that it's dangerous times and people are getting crazier and crazier. So maybe it's time for us to protect our families and start, making sure our communities do more community events for these holidays to take the kids off walking on the roads and putting them in these events that they can have fun and safe fun and good, clean family fun. And
like, of course, this person with no kids is trying to Karen Halloween. Of course she's doing that. Why in the fuck would I not assume that this is what she was going to do? Like, how did I not see this fucking coming? I mean, every time, dude. Every fucking time.
And it's just getting to the point where, I know that the kids love trick-or-treating. It's just one of those things, but we need to find ways to get them away from danger. And I just don't trust the world that we're living in right now. I really don't. I've lost.
Bro, it's not like people are fucking 3D printing candy bars, bro. Okay? It's like any other fucking time it's still safe. Let me tell you something. Ever since I was a little kid, there was always dangers about trick-or-treating in the media. They were scaring the shit out of everybody, saying that they were drugging the candy and putting razor blades in the candy. And I never once got any of that. Because the media is always going to find a way to try to scare you. And this is all she's doing, is she's just trying to Karen fucking Halloween and trying to come off like she's shit, hold on. So, I mean, ever since I was a kid, okay? Ever since I was a kid. And like, you're not gonna like razor blades in the candy and shit like that. First of all, once that came out, like, your parents inspected the candy. It's not that big a deal to inspect the candy, Like, most parents love inspecting the candy because they're stealing the candy as they're inspecting it. It's kind of like their fee to their kid. This is what I'm charging you for having to fucking go through all this candy and let you have this candy that I know I'm going to regret letting you have. So it's a rite of passage for a parent. It's a rite of passage. Secondly, nobody's spending money and wasting their money on drugs that they're not going to use themselves. That doesn't happen. Okay. In the 80s, it was all about people offering drugs, and everybody was offering drugs and they were putting it secretly in the Halloween candy and shit. No, dude, drugs are expensive. They cost money. Anybody who's ever done drugs understands this. As soon as I started doing drugs in high school, I was like, well, fuck. Yeah, nobody's doing that. Nobody's fucking doing that. Nobody's taking their fucking hard-earned money that they spent on drugs and taking those drugs and putting them and giving it away for free on Halloween to a bunch of kids that aren't even going to enjoy their high. It's a waste. Nobody's going to do that. Like, I remember seeing all this shit going on, like, all these say no to drugs campaigns. I mean, all the big sitcoms at the time, like Punky Brewster and Different Strokes, and all of these big time shows and Silver Spoons, they all had these special episodes. And for some reason, there would be somebody who came along and was like, check it out. Fucking stole this. There was an episode of Punky Brewster, dude. I remember it vividly, where these popular girls wanted to use it. These girls were still in like fucking elementary school. And these popular girls wanted to use Cherry and Punky's treehouse, right? And they're like, you could be part of our club as long as this is the treehouse. This is our clubhouse. We use your treehouse as our clubhouse. And then one of the girls was like, yeah, my brother gave me all these drugs. And it was like the biggest bag of cocaine that I've ever seen. Okay, there's no way that unless her brother was Scarface, he's giving his preteen sister that much cocaine. It was insane. I was like, what in the fuck? And so when I got to high school and started using drugs, I started thinking like, well, where the fuck are all these people that are supposed to offer me free fucking drugs? Because it's never fucking happened. Where are all these free drugs? They never fucking happened. And I'm pissed. Because I was lied to. I was lied to by fucking TD Carter or whatever the fuck his name was. The dude that ran the fucking orphanage in Punky Brewster. That dude that was like really cool and hip. And he fucking was warning about all these free drugs. I'm mad about that. Frustrating as shit. And now I know it's bullshit. If like, you know, you want a seal of certified bullshit, the certification seal of bullshit, it comes from Betty's endorsement. Anything Betty says is got you a certified seal of bullshit. It is classified as bullshit, whatever she's saying. If she's saying it, it's got the seal. Like, dude, this is what you do. Take your kids trick-or-treating. Go with them. Go with them. It's what everybody does. It's really regulated. It's a lot more regulated nowadays than it was when I was a kid. And hardly anybody trick-or-treats anymore anyway. Because it's no fun to go trick-or-treating during the daylight. And that's what they started changing that, where you can't go at night. Once dark hits, you can't go trick-or-treating. Like, no, that's kind of the point. It's that spooky feeling of going from one house that's one house to another when that next house is a good fucking like 50 feet away and it's dark, you know? And you've got somebody younger with you that you could startle and go, ah, you know, and they freak out. No, don't do that. That's part of Halloween. It's part of the experience. And now that's not even a thing. But that's not enough for Bullhorn Betty with no kids. She's got to make it even less enjoyable. Don't go trick-or-treating at all. Find an activity. Let's treat your kids like they're spending Halloween in an institution. Because I have had to spend Halloween in foster homes and in children's centers. And it sucks. Because you can't go trick-or-treating. It sucks. And now, like, wow.
Is there good people out? Oh my God, there's amazing people out there. There's more amazing humans out there than especially, and I do truly believe this in our country, than any other place, you know, and all the, you know, not the third world countries, but all the civilized, you know, I really truly believe that there is a lot more good people in all areas of the world than there are bad people. But the bad just can cause so much damage. One bad person can wreak havoc on so many good people. Just one. So we just have to remember that our children are precious. You know, like that's precious cargo for many of us, right? That's what my mommy always said. More precious cargo. Why are you driving so slow? I'm carrying precious cargo. So our children are precious cargo, and we want to keep them safe. And in this crazy world, we need to start finding other ways to do it. We need to find other ways to do it. I'm not sure if putting our children, especially even our young children, you know, we think our children are older now. We have a whole different type of environment in our children. there's the third world countries, but all the civilized, I really, and then all the, not the third world countries, but all the civilized, I really truly believe that there is a lot more good people in all areas of the world. And all the, and I do truly believe this in our country than any other place, and all the, not the third world countries, but all the civilized, I really truly believe that there is a lot more good people in all areas of the.
So, third world countries can't be civilized. Third world countries don't have civilization. Is that okay, Betty? Just making sure. Just checking.
Of the world than there are bad people, but the bad just can cause so much damage. One bad person can wreak havoc on so many good people. Just one. So we just have to remember that our children are precious. Like that's precious cargo for many of us, right? That's what my mommy always said. More precious cargo. Why are you driving so slow? I'm carrying precious cargo. So our children are precious cargo, and we want to keep them safe. And in this crazy world, we need to start finding other ways to do it. We need to find other ways to do it. I'm not sure if putting our children, especially even our young children, we think our children are older now. We have a whole different type of environment now that actually preys upon our 12 to 17-year-old kids. So having them out alone, I don't know, even them, if it's safe. I'd really like to start seeing, as hard as it sounds, I mean, I can't even believe it's coming out of my mouth, but I really, in this day and age, I really think that we need to start doing more community events to keep our children from potentially walking into a bad stranger. Because look.
Oh my God. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. Dear sweet baby Jesus, please let Betty try to organize one of these events locally and her make it content and see how these parents react to it. Please, dear sweet baby Jesus, I don't ask for much. I just want this. Please. Amen.
Let's face it. It only takes one. It only takes one.
Wow.
I think we got a super dad. Super dad. I think we got a super dad. Super dad. Super dad. Super dad. 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 I think we got a super dad. I think we got a super dad.
I'm baffled. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming on early today. Great show. Thank you. I appreciate it. It means a lot. Thank you. My pleasure. Yeah, I'm trying to.
So how are we doing? Do we have any questions
I'll get into that
so far? Because we're going to start
I have
gears
questions.
to more of the updates on our more notable cases.
I have questions.
We're going to be kind of switching gear and going into Alec Murdaugh.
I have questions, but I got to tell you, I don't know where in the fuck to start. I don't even know where to fucking start.
Many of you know is the disgraced South Carolina attorney that is not only accused but now convicted of murdering his wife Maggie and his son Paul in their Moselle estate at the dog kennels. This is I forgot. I sorry. Before we get over there, I'm sorry. I missed one very important case here that I wanted to talk to you guys about. This is a case that of a very brave girl, a very brave young girl. I'm sorry. I cannot believe that.
I love how
I almost missed this.
How the guy in a Michael Myers mask, like with a hammer, made her go into being anti trick-or-treating. It's just fucking mind-blowing.
This. Let's go over this one first. This is not a case that we covered yet. This is going to be one of those things where viewer discretion is advised. This is a trigger warning case. After a decade, one very brave young girl tells her online teacher. So not only did they pull her out of class, they had her learning online to keep some of the abuse away from the
what
schools.
is she doing?
And one brave girl, after a decade, I want to make sure that you hear that correctly. After a decade of abuse that has left her disfigured in some respects, this young girl, she finally went to her teacher, her online teacher, and asked her online teacher to call law enforcement. What a sad case. But you know what? What a case of a brave girl. And this is what I'm going to say. If there are any young girls or boys watching my channel or ever come across my channel.
Dude, whenever Betty is about to give advice, especially to children in a scenario like that, my mind just goes right to no. Wait. Just every fucking time. Oh, brace yourselves.
My channel or ever come across this video. I don't know. If you are being abused or hurt in ways that you're told are wrong by people like me and people like teachers and
why are
people
children
like
watching your channel?
If they're telling you this is not good, but you've got somebody saying, oh, it's okay.
Why is she talking like children are watching her channel? Because children should not be watching her channel. My shit is set to not for kids. The shit better be.
Please tell your teacher. Please tell your teacher. If you're being put in a closet and locked there because you're being punished, that's not normal. Please tell a teacher. Please tell an adult that wants to help you.
Says the lady.
If you're having boiling water.
Says the lady who brags about spanking kids that aren't even hers.
Or poured on your body. Please tell a teacher. Please. That's not normal behavior. Normal people don't live like that and don't treat children like that.
Oh
so we want to make sure that we're reaching out to these kids. This is actually in my state, in the state of Florida. I'm going to pull this up here so you guys can kind of look at it and read along with me. Over here. Let me get my glasses on. I'm getting blind. I'm getting blind. I'm getting blind. Let me see if I can just blow this up just ever so slightly so you guys can see it a little bit better. So a 46-year-old woman and her 43-year-old husband were arrested this week on suspicion of abusing and torturing their teen niece over the course of a decade. According to records shows, Letitia Crowley was taken into custody on October 25th on charges of aggravated child abuse and child neglect with great bodily harm. Her husband, Benjamin Lockett, was arrested for child abuse without great bodily harm. According to the criminal complaint, October 25th, the victim contacted her online teacher for help and asked the instructor to send the police to her home at the Northwest 79th Terrace. Margate police officers arrived at the residence, and the victim reportedly told police Lockett got angry with her because he suspected she ate some candy. So he allegedly punched her and caused her to hit her head on a desk. The victim sustained large cuts on her forehead and other swelling. She was taken to Broward Health Coral Springs, where officers and medical personnel observed evidence of significant long-term trauma on her body, which include scars like ligature marks, scar tissue. That's what we need to do. Maybe we need to start, instead of talking about good touch and bad touch, maybe we also need to be implementing good punishment and bad punishment.
What?
What? Because I implement good punishment and bad punishment out there. You need to be implementing this in your children. Let them not enough risk custody. And this is a really alarming case for me. But again, it took one brave girl to finally stand up and say she's had enough. If you are a teacher out there, you need to be implementing this in your children. Let them know that they're not in trouble. Let them know that this is, explain good, good punishment and bad punishment. Maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to start, instead of talking about good touch and bad touch, maybe we also need to be implementing good punishment and bad punishment, because I'm one of those people that don't believe in spanking your children or even disciplining your children other than standing them in the wall if you're angry. Anger, sometimes our children do things that just push us to our absolute limits. And, sometimes we can react to that negatively. And, so I'm absolutely adamant that you should not put your hands on your children when you're angry. You should allow yourself to calm down and punish them appropriately. And if that means a butt whipping, then that means a butt whipping, right? But don't do it out of anger. So this was, again, praise the girl that we don't hear a lot of. I mean, we hear a lot of brave girls that come forward each and every day and talk about their abuse, but we need to get to them before it gets to 10 years. That girl should not have had to go through that or endure that, but she was living in the abuse silently. Think about it. They had, they took her away from everybody, right? And even school. She was doing online school. She had to talk to her online instructor. She had finally had it. It shouldn't take a child to finally have it before they finally tell an adult.
I'm just gonna let the chat express their opinions on what she just said. I'm not even gonna touch it.
She kept that to herself even longer. What if it ended up losing her life because of her secret? So we need to get our kids talking. We need to get even when you have, kids over staying the night, right? Make sure that they don't have anything on their mind. Make sure that there's not something going on, in their life. Ask them. They're not your kids, right? But they're having a slumber party. You want to make sure that they're happy and healthy. There's nothing wrong with.
Okay, so what Betty's proposing here, which I find fascinating. What Betty's proposing here is that if your child has a slumber party, okay, perfectly natural thing, great, and they have, other people's kids coming over and sleeping over. What you want to do is screen them all, each one of them. You want to screen them and ask them what their personal business is without any indication that something is wrong. But assume that there's something wrong and sit down and start asking them personal questions about their personal home life. That's what she's suggesting that you do when you have children over for a sleepover to hang out with your own children. Okay. So an unlicensed group therapy session with a bunch of children when you're not trained to deal with children's emotional issues. Okay. That's real bright there, Betty. That's
wrong with asking kids, how you been doing? Anything going on? Do you need to tell me about anything? Just wanted to let you know I love you.
Thank God this woman doesn't have kids. Thank God she doesn't have kids.
So we just need to be a little more cognizant and cognizant of the people around us, because the neighbors had to have known. If they're living in a duplex, an apartment complex, in a neighborhood, what? Somebody had to have known. If you hear something, I'd rather you call it in and it be, a nothing burger than it being a something burger and nothing was called in and nothing was done. So be that squeaky wheel, get stuff done. All right, now we're on to Alec Murdaugh. He didn't win. His victims are doing amazing things. That is correct. We're hearing all.
Okay, that's enough for me. That is quite enough for me. But I am going to wrap this up, folks. We've been live for the give or take usual 3 hours. I usually do about 3 hours. So I'm trying to get into a routine here. And I'm trying to go on live a lot more often just to hang out and kick it with you guys. So, and I want to do that, in the early evening, if I can help it. Because that seems to be the most the best time for everybody to be able to catch a live. So and I'm gonna be doing Patreon again. Okay. If you guys want, go ahead and the link to Patreon is in the description. What I'm going to start doing, I'm bringing back Drunk True Crime, y'all. Okay? Remember Drunk History? We're doing Drunk True Crime. That means I'm going to get a bottle of scotch, okay? And I'm going to drink damn near the whole goddamn thing, all right? And go over a classic case. I'm going to focus mostly on celebrity crime cases, cases that involve celebrities, things of that nature, old cases. So drunk history, true crime style, celebrity true crime. That's what we're going to focus on. We're not going to focus too much on like serial killers and shit like that, because the last time I did that, it traumatized me and I couldn't fucking handle it anymore. And I didn't put out Patreon content for fucking ever. But I was really consistent with it before. And then it just got really like disturbing, talking about certain cases and certain victims and details. And it really fucked me all up. So I couldn't do it. But what I'm going to do, I'll probably kick it off with the OJ case. Okay. I did that before. But I'm thinking I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to try to get, and what I'm going to try to do, I can't promise these things, but what I want to try to do is incorporate other creators to join me, because I don't know how easy it's going to be to get other creators to get drunk with me and discuss these cases that we're all familiar with. That, in theory, it seems like a really fun idea. I just don't know who I'm going to get to talk into doing that. But ideally, I would love to get a creator who you would normally not see inebriated discuss a classic case and talk about it with me absolutely inebriated. And it seems like a lot of fun in theory. But I'm going to see if I can get this done, if I can pull this off. But regardless, I'm still going to go over these old cases. And we do have a lot of fun when we do them, as long as they're not of too traumatizing of subject matter. So we try not to, I'm trying not to do that. But yeah, I'm bringing back Patreon. So if you guys want exclusive content and you think it's going to be fun to watch me cover a case and try to do it well when I'm fucking hammered on 12-year-old scotch, then yeah, subscribe to my Patreon. And then when I have something actually solid, whatever, I'll put up a post and everything. But some of you guys already know what I got in mind, but we'll see. All right. We'll see. But anyways, yeah. I am going to jump off here. You guys are fucking fantastic. And I really appreciate all you guys, man, and all your generosity. You guys are crazy, man. And how fucking supportive you guys are. It means the whole fucking world to me. It really does. And of course, you know, any updates that are going to be coming up with the Karen Reed situation or the Turtle Boy case, which is now also a case. Any updates on that stuff, then, you know, I'll give my 2 cents on that stuff too. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, Patreon. It's my version of, instead of Drunk History, if you guys remember that show on Comedy Central, this is going to be Drunk True Crime. And we do have a lot of fun. And you will get access to the Discord as well. And you guys can kind of interact and hang out with each other when we're not in chat. It's a way for you guys to still kick it and talk to each other and hang out. So anyways, guys, you guys are fantastic. I love you very much. I appreciate all you guys. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.